What's going on? How's everyone doing?
Shout out to Colin. Everybody else who's cool with Colin.
Chucky, I didn't say.
Get your popcorn and your Coca-Cola and relax.
Anyway, tell Colin I'm ready.
What's going on? This is Colin. How's everybody doing? I hope you're having a great day so far. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. Hopefully you guys had a great weekend. I had a good weekend. Hopefully you guys did too. All right. I've got a long one tonight. I don't know if we're going to get through this entire thing. We will try. So I told you guys last night that I have a jury trial one to play. I edited it down from an 8-hour video to about a 2-hour video, but this might be a 2-night trial. Doesn't matter. It's going to be good. We have a guy charged with a DUI. He's actually charged with 4 different things: DUI, crossing lanes, I think suspended license. Oh, and then failure to. He just said no to all the tests. So it's we got a good trial, and this is one of those trials where the ending may shock you. It may shock you. A lot happens during this. The attorneys fight both sides, and it's a good trial. It's a good trial. This is a very law nerd heavy trial. There's not a lot of drama besides. We'll get the body cam, we'll get everything, but we got the entire trial. So let's do it. Is that all I have to say before we start? I think it is. Before I hit that play button, you know what to do. Hit the like and subscribe. Do your jump kick backflips. Let's go.
Thank you. All right, it's still morning, so good morning once again. Congratulations.
Oh yeah, I skipped all the jury questions, and we're going right to opening statements. I took out as much dead air as I could. Like I said, I took an 8-hour trial down to 2 hours, so let's do it.
Or my condolences, whichever is your preference, but congratulations at least on moving to the nice comfortable chairs. Thank you again for being here and taking the time out of your day to serve on the jury. But, let's get to it. Let's dive into the details, shall we? Now we're here today because Mr. William Vanover here is on trial for a total of 4 charges. One is for driving with an expired license. Another is for what's called a marked lanes violation, where his vehicle traveled over the painted white, yellow lines on the roadway. He is also charged with 1 count of operating a motor vehicle under the influence, or as you'll hear us refer to it often, OVI or OVI impaired. And then finally, he is charged with 1 count of OVI refusal, meaning after being arrested for that OVI, he refused to take a breath test, and that he had a prior conviction for OVI within the last 20 years. Now, your duty today is to determine whether Mr. Vanover committed the OVI impaired and OVI refusal offenses. The court will make the determination regarding those other traffic offenses. Now, the state, it's me, I have to prove the elements of those 2 OVI offenses to you beyond a reasonable doubt.
Yes, this is Judge Stansbury in Ohio. This is Licking County. It's about 2 hours from me. That's where we're at.
What are these elements? Well, I have to prove that on or about Saturday night, July 19th, 2025, in the city of Pataskala in Licking County, Ohio, that Mr. William Vanover operated a motor vehicle on a public roadway while under the influence of alcohol. I then have to prove he had a prior conviction within the last 20 years and that he refused to take a breath test. So that's for you. Additionally, for the court, I will have to prove that his license was not valid at the time and that he drove across the marked lanes on the roadway. Now, out of all those things I just listed off and counted on my fingers for you, a lot of those aren't in dispute, meaning that the defense isn't going to disagree. But the key that is in dispute and why you are here is the element of under the influence. Basically, was Mr. Vanover impaired? So I have to prove that to you. I'm going to do that through my witness, Trooper Morgan over here. And he's going to talk to you a lot He's going to tell you about the events that happened that night, and then he's also going to kind of like educate you on how he knows what he knows, how he does what he does, and why all of that matters. So he's going to tell you that on Saturday, July 19th, 2025, around 10:45, 10:50 p.m., he was on patrol, and about near the intersection of Broad and Taylor in the city of Pataskala, in Licking County, he saw this white truck. And it caught his attention because of how it was driving, and then as it passes him, he goes to follow this truck. And he sees this truck swerving within its lane. So he decides, gotta watch that, see that this person's okay. The truck crosses the white fog line on the right, comes back, and then also crosses the yellow line. Because of what he saw, Trooper Morgan initiated a traffic stop. I figure out why are you all over the road? What's happening here? The driver of the truck, upon approach, turns out to be Mr. Vanover. He pulls into a Marathon gas station. And when Trooper Morgan goes up to talk with him, there's him and there's a passenger in the truck. And Trooper Morgan's talking about, like, where you coming from, what's happening, you know, do you know why I stopped you? And while he's speaking with Mr. Vanover, he sees indicators to him that Mr. Vanover had consumed alcohol. So he starts to ask about that and says, you know, how much have you had to drink tonight? Be honest with me. You'll see that Mr. Vanover says 0. Okay. So Trooper Morgan asks Mr. Vanover to get out of the truck. Part of that is, you know, he'll tell you a lot of times that they'll have to do that if there's multiple occupants in a vehicle. Is that odor, are those things that make him believe Mr. Vanover may have consumed alcohol, is that really from him, or is that from somebody else? And then he needs to see if he's impaired, if it is him. So he gets him out and he continues to see these indicators, continues to smell alcoholic beverage odor coming from Mr. Vanover. So he's over here going, yeah, I think I was right. I think you had consumed alcohol. I want to check and make sure that you're okay to drive. So he's going to explain to you a little bit about standardized field sobriety tests. You never have to say the alphabet backwards, just so you know. So he's not going to he's not going to talk to you about a lot of that you see on TV. He's going to tell you what is standardized, what standardized means, and that of those 3 standardized field sobriety tests, they're not pass-fail. They show what could be indicators or clues of a person's impairment, if they do exist in a particular case. So he's going to testify that this test that he did perform is called horizontal gaze nystagmus. Before you go trying to write that down and memorize that, we call it HGN because that's a mouthful. So you'll hear us say HGN a lot. So he will tell you exactly how he conducts the horizontal gaze nystagmus test, what kind of training he's had so that he knows how to do it. And he's going to be specific, like he's going to tell you, you know, you got to follow the pen, but how far away is this pen from a person? So he's going to explain all of that to you. And then he's going to tell you that he did perform that test on Mr. Vanover, and there'll be a video showing this. You can, if you're a visual learner, that might help you. But he's going to testify that there are 6 possible clues on the HGN test, and that he did observe all 6 possible clues. And then he's also going to explain vertical gaze nystagmus, VGN. Again, don't even try to worry about remembering all of those big words and spelling them out. But so he's going to explain that, how he conducts the VGN test, and that he did also see vertical nystagmus in this case. And then he'll tell you that he would have performed other field sobriety tests, but the defendant refused to do any of those. Now, if you recall, we discussed other clues, what I would call other clues of impairment when we talked about how you know someone was drunk, buzzed, or otherwise feeling the effects of alcohol. So you're going to hear about some of those things that Trooper Morgan observed. You know, slurred speech, for example. Red, bloodshot, glassy eyes. So you'll learn about those indicators that Trooper Morgan observed from Mr. Vanover. And at the end of the day, you're like, why does this matter? Well, Trooper Morgan's going to explain a little bit of that. He's going to tell you that, hey, the effect of alcohol on the central nervous system, that's why this matters. Your central nervous system controls many things, like judgments, motor skills, divided attention. And alcohol is a central nervous system depressant, which can slow down things like reaction timing, cause emotional and mental changes, delayed motor skills, and so forth. And that matters because think about when you drive, how divided your attention is. You're watching the road in front of you, trying to maintain your speed, staying in your lane. If you need to change lanes, you got to check that blind spot too, right? Got to hit the turn signal. It's where it's located for a reason, so you don't have to look and find it. So you can just instinctively do it. But your attention is divided amongst several things, all while you're just driving down the road. You know, if a cow comes running across the field at you, you got to see if it's actually going to come in front of the road and you need to stop. All these things that you've got to be observant for. So, Trooper Morgan's going to tell you that this is why it matters. If Mr. Vanderveer is showing signs that he is impaired, all of those things could be affected. And because of his observations, including the field sobriety test, but including all those other things, he believes the defendant was indeed under the influence. So explain, here's why I think the defendant consumed alcohol, which includes, like, when he first asks him about this, the defendant says he had 0 alcohol, okay? That's what he says at first. Another reason why you got to get him separate from the other person in the vehicle. But he'll tell you that later on, the defendant says, well, I didn't drink that much. I only had a couple beers. Not trashed. So Trooper Morgan ultimately believes the defendant is indeed under the influence and arrests him for that. And as part of that, as part of an arrest, it is standard for officers to conduct a search of someone's person to make sure they don't have anything on them they're not supposed to have. And then also to inventory any of their personal items that might end up going with them down to the police station or to a jail. And that's called like a search incident to arrest. And while doing that, he finds...
Objection, Your Honor. Can we approach?
Yes.
So anyway, during this search, goes through the guy's pockets, things like that. You find change, keys, phones, and whatnot. And while all this is going on, the passenger in the truck is still there. And he is kind of interfering. He's from a distance, just yelling things and arguing. So normally, Trooper Morgan would just tell that person, stay in the truck. When I'm done, we'll take care of you getting home, getting the truck taken care of, especially if you need to get somebody else to come drive it, depending upon if the passenger had a license. So while doing all of this, Trooper Morgan's next step is to put the defendant in the back of the cruiser. Does that, searches his boots and everything. We won't have to watch all of that, obviously, but just to let you know the standard things that were happening here. So once he puts him in the back of the car, then he goes and attends to all those other things for a minute until it's safe until the passenger is safely accounted for, the vehicle is accounted for, and then he can leave. So right before he leaves, one of the last things he does that you're going to need to pay attention to is read a form called the BMV 2255. This form is something that advises those suspected of OVI of potential consequences related to their driver's license as a result of that traffic offense. So basically it's a couple of paragraphs that Trooper Morgan reads to the defendant that says, hey, you're now under arrest for OVI. Here's what can happen to your driver's license depending upon what you do with the next step, which is take a breath test. So he advises Mr. Vanover, hey, if you fail to submit to a breath test, your license is automatically suspended immediately for a year. And then if you do take the breath test and you're at the 0.08 or above, it's a 90-day suspension. If you're under that, there is. In fact, when he first was getting him out of the truck, it was like, let's make sure you're okay to drive, and if you are, we'll get you on your way. So he reads this form, advises Mr. Vanover of the possible consequences, and says, hey, do you want to take a breath test? And Trooper Morgan, with the Ohio State Highway Patrol, they generally don't like to take what they call roadside refusals, meaning while they're still there on the side of the road at that Marathon gas station, while he's explaining this to Mr. Vanover and reading this form, he's not like, you must give me an answer right now, or whatever you say now is the end. He just says, here's the possibilities. Then they drive back to the post, the Granville post of the Highway Patrol, where the machine is if he wants to take this test. And while there, he says, all right, here's where we are to take this breath test that I want you to take. And he, again, explains, and without having to read that whole form again, just quick explanation, 1 year suspension if you refuse, 90 days if you test and you're over. If you're at or over. At one point, the defendant, you'll hear him on the video say, I think I can pass that. But then he ultimately refuses and says, no, I'm not taking that. I'm not taking that breath test. And then you'll be presented with evidence that the defendant has a prior conviction for OVI within the last 20 years. That's the look-back period for the refusal charge, specifically in 2013. Trooper Morgan found that when he ran Mr. Vanover's information, plus both myself and Ms. Tome have agreed that is one of the things we're not having a disagreement about. You know, we're going to stipulate that that is true. He has that conviction from 2013. Now, after hearing all the evidence, watching the video, listening to what happens on the video, listening to Trooper Morgan, after hearing all of that, I'm confident that you will see that the state has met its burden and that you will return a guilty verdict to the OVI impaired and refusal charges. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Yeager. Ms. Tome, you may proceed with your opening statement.
Thank you, Your Honor. Still good morning. Okay, so Ms. Yeager's right. There are some things that we're not here to dispute. We certainly agree that Mr. Vanover was operating his vehicle that night. He's the operator. It was, in fact, a vehicle. So in OVI, you have operating a vehicle, and then there's the big I, which is in dispute, and that is impaired or under the influence. And the state is going to be unable to prove to you that Mr. Vanover his driving was impaired by alcohol on the night he was charged. The evidence will show, are there traffic violations? Absolutely, there's traffic violations. There's marked lanes violations that I probably committed on my way to court today. Maybe some of you did as well. People don't always drive within the lines of travel that they're supposed to. It happens all the time. Does that mean we are under the influence? Not necessarily. There are a lot of reasons why someone doesn't drive a completely straight line all the time. So you're going to see the video, and you're going to see some marked lanes violations, and then you're going to see some additional driving when the trooper starts to pull Mr. Vanover over. I know that was clunky to say. He gets in the left lane. He uses his left turn signal. He pulls into a safe place. He pulls into a certified gas station. He pulls over appropriately. He sits in his car. He waits for the trooper to approach him. He engages in a discussion with the trooper. All things that are consistent with just innocence, sobriety, not being drunk. And there's a discussion about slurred speech. You'll hear it, and you can make your own decision on whether or not you think the speech is slurred. There's certainly conversations, and there's certainly a understanding of what's being said. And the big sort of, I guess, red herring in the case is this passenger, who is, I think everybody would agree, under the influence. So The trooper approaches, he smells alcohol. Yeah, there's a person in the car that's under the influence, but it's not Mr. Vanover. Now, Mr. Vanover is asked to step out because the trooper smells it, and he's like, well, I got to figure out, is it him? Is it the passenger? Where am I smelling an odor of alcohol? You'll see Mr. Vanover get out of the car. You'll see him get out appropriately. He doesn't stumble. He doesn't fumble for documents. All things that the trooper will tell you that he's trained to look for and that Mr. Vanover did not exhibit. Exhibited characteristics of somebody who was not under the influence, safe to drive, otherwise sober. During the administration of the field sobriety test, this passenger gets out of his car. He creates a real problem. And Mr. Vanover doesn't create a problem. In fact, you'll hear, I'm sure the trooper is going to testify that Mr. Vanover was compliant and cooperative and, not a problem. And he says that multiple times in the video. But this passenger won't seem to stop talking and yelling at the situation, yelling at the trooper, yelling at Mr. Vanover. Mr. Vanover is attempting to do these field tests. He's got this constant chatter in his ear. Don't do that. You'll hear it. Don't do that. You don't have to do anything. It's videotaping. He's a problem. I'm sure the trooper is going to testify this guy was a problem. He was a real concern. Mr. Vanover was not a real concern. So ultimately, Mr. Vanover doesn't do any of the other tests. He's got this constant chatter. Don't do anything. Don't do anything. He says, listen, I'm fine. I'm not drunk. I'm not going to do any more tests. So the officer arrests him based on the one test he did, which was the eye test. And as Ms. Yeager said in her opening, the trooper's first thing is, well, let's make sure you're okay, and if you are, I'll have you on your way. Well, he does the one test. He does engage in discussions with the trooper. He has this constant chatter. He gets arrested nonetheless. He gets arrested based on the one test. And it's after the arrest, of course, that they talk to him about taking a breath test. It's not during the administration of the field sobriety test. It's after he gets arrested, then they're like, okay, now that we've arrested you for a crime, we're going to ask for some additional evidence. And we talked about, the breath test and decisions that why you would take a breath test, why you might not take a breath test. And as Ms. Yeager said, at one point he says, well, I think I can pass it, ultimately refuses it, okay? And that's another thing that's not going to be in dispute, that he did refuse the breath test. And we've stipulated that 13 years ago he was convicted of the offense of OVI. We've stipulated to that. That does not mean, as we talked in voir dire, that in July of 2025, he is under the influence. What you're going to look at is not just what the trooper tells you, but what you can see with your own eyes. This man being cooperative, compliant, speaking clearly, and walking clearly, having this constant chatter. These are the things that you are going to see. This is the evidence that you're going to see. You're going to make a decision whether or not he's under the influence of alcohol, under the influence such that he should not have been driving. And he says, well, yeah, I had 2 beers. And whether or not, I think we cleared up during voir dire, hopefully, that whether or not you had 2 beers does not mean you're under the influence, because, as we discussed, under the influence means that you consumed some amount, mild or potent, great or small, some amount that have to adversely affect and noticeably impair your actions, reaction, and mental processes, such that it's not safe for you to drive. And you are not going to see that. What the evidence will show is we have a man committed some marked lanes violations, is compliant with the police officers, for all intents and purposes, appears to be certainly have clearness of intellect, have control of himself, appropriately acting and reacting. That is what the evidence is ultimately going to show. The state is not going to meet the burden that he is under the influence. He committed a marked lanes violation. He refused a breath test. 13 years ago, he had a case. In July of 2025, the evidence will not show, the state will not meet its burden that he is under the influence in July of 2025. And ultimately would ask you to find Mr. Vanover not guilty. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Tome. Do either counsel intend to use the podium during the examination of the witnesses, Ms. Yeager?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Tome?
I prefer to, yes, Judge.
Not a problem. We'll go ahead and put it in the appropriate spot. All right, Ms. Yeager, please call your first witness.
Thank you. The state will call Trooper Morgan.
Do you solemnly swear to you affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and whole truth and nothing but the truth and the truth?
I do.
Please have a seat. For the record, give your name and spell your last name.
My name is Trooper Ronald Morgan, M-O-R-G-A-N,
And the address you post.
3855 Altville Road, Granville, Ohio, 43023.
You may inquire.
Thank you. Trooper Morgan, how long have you been at that Granville post for the Ohio State Highway Patrol?
I've been at the Granville post with the Ohio State Highway Patrol for a bit over a year now.
Okay. And what are your general duties as a trooper?
My general duties are to enforce the traffic laws, including the, which is the ORC, the Ohio Revised Code, as well as criminal laws within the ORCs as well.
And what kind of training have you had on traffic law enforcement?
So on traffic law, we go through a 6-month academy, which is where they teach you just the basics of the job, as well as traffic law. And then once you get out of the academy, you go through a 70-day FTO period, which is field training officer period, which is where the first little bit they're doing the job and you're kind of like just shadowing and just watching, interacting a little bit, and then they slowly transition you into the driver's seat and slowly transition you into actually doing the job as a trooper.
So there's classroom and practical sections to that training?
Yes.
Okay. And then did you also have training on the detection of someone operating a vehicle under the influence of alcohol or drugs of abuse?
Yes.
What kind of training and when did you have that?
So in the academy, there's a 2-week training. There's a 2-week training block that is dedicated towards impaired driving, and within that.
Colin, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it. Happy Sunday. Just popped in, but looks interesting. We have a DUI trial. This one is interesting for a lot of reasons. But we're not going to get into the interesting stuff. It's kind of the middle. And absolutely the verdict. That's when it's interesting.
There are classroom settings and there's also physical settings to where we call it the wet lab. It's where they actually bring in impaired people. They bring them in downstairs. They give this person a certain amount, this person a certain amount, and then some people don't have any alcohol. And you have to go through each person and affect an arrest or not. And then as well as, like I said, when you get on FTO, like I said, you have to watch them perform the test and actually arrest or not arrest someone based on their impairment level.
So if I'm understanding correctly, the wet lab, you would observe people at who had consumed different amount of alcohol?
Yes.
Okay, and based on that would exhibit possibly differing signs of impairment?
Yes.
And were you, I guess, graded on how you performed in that wet lab?
Yes.
And did you practice field sobriety tests and so forth in there as well?
Yes.
And is there a particular manual that's used for this specific type of training?
Yes, the NHTSA manual.
Okay. And what does NHTSA stand for?
NHTSA stands for National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Okay, that's a lot. We'll just go with NHTSA. What version of that manual were you trained under?
I was trained under the 2024 version, but I was retrained recently under the 25.
And were there any substantive updates to the 25?
No.
Okay. Now, is that manual used by all law enforcement throughout the United States for OVIs?
Yes.
Did you have any other kind of OVI or under the influence type training?
Yes. Once you graduate from your FTO period, and you actually, we call it get cut loose, where you're out on your own in your own patrol car. You actually go back to the academy for a 2-week period, which is called A-RIDE, which is for advanced drugs. That'd be more for like marijuana impairment, a narcotic impairment, things of that nature.
Now, I know you've only been with Granville Post for a little over a year, but are you current with all continuing education, training, and certifications?
Yes.
And since you've been with this Granville Post, have you had contact with people driving under the
Yeah. Germager, good to see you tonight. Thank you so much for the super chat. Super Morgan, is it tiring running through my mind all day? Uh, I don't see it in this guy. I don't. And I am one of the first dudes to say, hey, that's a good looking dude. I don't see it in this one. I don't. But I see a lot of you are saying that he's attractive. Like I just don't see it in him. I don't know. I don't know why. I don't.
Influence of alcohol or drugs of abuse?
Yes,
Would you say like, hey, just one or two cases, or would you say a lot?
a lot.
A lot. Did you work a lot of the, I guess, nights and weekends?
Yes,
You did it. Okay. Now, were you working on Saturday, July 19th of 2025?
I was.
And what shift or hours were you working at that time?
10 p.m. to 6 a.m.
And where were you on patrol at about 10:50 p.m.?
I would be 16 and be Taylor Road, around that area, which I believe most people call 16 Broad Street.
Okay. So Broad and Taylor. Is that in the city of Pataskala, Licking County, Ohio?
Yes,
And were you wearing a uniform of the day, much like you are in court now?
yes,
And were you operating a marked cruiser with a working visible light bar?
I was.
And were you and your cruiser equipped with recording equipment that day?
Yes.
How are those activated?
We have a little, so you can manually activate them. There's a little button on it, and you can just press it, and it'll actually start recording. Or
When you
you,
say that and it starts recording, do you mean your dash camera?
yeah. There's it's like a little box, and you just press a little button on it, and it'll flash red, which just means it's rolling. Or it's automatically activated as soon as you turn on your overhead lights, and it rolls back a minute and a half.
And then how does your body cam get activated?
So it can be activated the same way. You can double click it and it'll activate, but it's automatically activated by police.
Oh, I can answer that to you. I can answer that for you right now. His ears are too big. He's got the receding hairline with the over. No, I'm not. I'm not a fan of this. I'm not a fan of his looks. I'm not. I'm not. This is such a weird conversation that this is where this turned into. But yeah, not. I'm not attracted to this man whatsoever. Sorry. Sorry. I don't know what to tell you.
Lights. So anytime I get out of the car, it'll automatically catch it and it'll activate it, and it does the same thing. It'll roll back a minute and a half.
And they were working properly that day?
Yes.
Okay. And that night, did you come into contact with someone that you later identified as William Vanover?
Yes.
Okay, is he in the courtroom today?
He is.
Yes, could you please point out where he is seated and describe what he is wearing today?
He's seated right there. He's wearing a gray T-shirt, blue jeans, and brown boots.
Thank you. Your Honor, let the record reflect the witness has identified the defendant.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
Very well, the record will so reflect.
And was that from a traffic stop?
Yes,
Okay, and did you record the traffic stop with the defendant?
I did.
And I'm going to start off with some video here on a flash drive marked as Plaintiff's Exhibit 1.
Thank you.
Maybe that'll be a thing. I don't know. I'm comfortable enough with my sexuality that I can call a dude good looking. Like I have no problem with that. Yeah, I just don't see it on this one. I don't.
It's your monitor on here.
It's just you, or now it's me.
Okay.
We're going to switch that over to the laptop.
One moment. Okay, but the monitor is on.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
Okay.
Monitor is on. Yes.
Okay. Now is it showing a video?
Yes.
Okay. And so do you recognize this video?
Yes. This would be my dash cam from that night.
Okay. And is this where you are as you're heading around the Broad and Taylor intersection?
Yeah. Actually, this is just past that.
You are so lucky I like you, Ed. You are so lucky I like you. Man. All right. Yeah. Well, you know what? My girlfriend lives in Canada and she loves her 40-year-old boyfriend that lives in the United States. So yeah. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do about it, Ed?
That intersection.
Okay. Now is this a public roadway?
Yes.
All right. Okay. That white truck, was that the defendant's vehicle?
Yes.
What caught your attention?
As a just as a normal driver, but especially as a trooper, we're trained to always be aware of our surroundings. You just want to know who's around you, what's going on. I just happened to look in my right side rearview mirror. I seen the truck. The truck looked in the mirror as if it was not necessarily coming in my lane, but getting really close to my vehicle. So you'll see me kind of make like a quick little left jerking motion, and then that's when I transitioned into the right lane to follow the vehicle.
And then when you got behind him, did you notice anything about his driving that concerned you?
Yes, he was swerving, and then he ultimately did end up committing the violations that we previously talked about, which were the marked lanes violation, the left of center violation.
Okay. So with marked lanes, left of center, those were, I know we.
What's up, Bill? Yeah, I'm working off my winter weight right now. It's starting to become nice. I'm starting to work out again, but I've become so round over the winter that there are people on the internet that call me flat. Just so we're all aware of that. Bill, you're awesome.
Probably all have something that we think of. What's the white line called?
That's going to be the fog
The
line.
fog line. And then, do you have another word for the center line, or do you just say yellow center?
Yellow center.
Okay. So with the white, did you see him cross the white fog line?
Yes.
And did you see him cross the yellow center line?
Yes.
Okay. And is that captured on your dash camera?
Yes.
Okay. So after you see this, what do you do next?
Then at that point, I'd actually turned on my camera manually because just sometimes you just don't know what's the safest. I knew the area very well. I didn't know. In my head, I'm thinking, okay, it's a big truck. What's the safest place that I can get this truck pulled over? And so you don't always know when you're exactly going to turn on the lights. Because some people pull over immediately. Some people will take, they take a little bit and then they try to find a driveway or whatever it may be. So I turned on my camera just in case that was the case. But once I did see like, okay, this is a good spot. I turned on my lights to initiate a traffic stop.
And what would that stop have been for?
The stop would have been for the marked lanes violation, the left of center violation.
So the driving behavior, the part that caught your attention where he was getting a little close to you for your concern, the marked lanes, left of center, those things that you observed, pursuant to your training in NHTSA, can those be considered indicators of impairment?
Yes.
And now where did the vehicle come to a stop?
The vehicle comes to a stop. It'd be just west of Summit Road on the north.
You authorized your account. You did the thing that you're not supposed to do. If you want to give memberships, that is. Legal Fiction, thank you so much for the very generous super chat. I do appreciate it. And Legal Fiction started a channel. I'm pretty sure all of you guys know this by now, but Legal Fiction started his own channel. He went live over the weekend, and it was a great stream. Go check it out. If my mods can drop the link, that'd be awesome. But Legal Fiction, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it.
North side of the roadway in a marathon.
Marathon gas station?
Yes.
Okay. Any issues, anything notable when the vehicle was stopping?
Yes, when he, I believe he tried to put it in park. Because when I got out of the car, I could observe that when you put a vehicle in reverse, the white lights come on. I could observe that the white lights would come on. We've been trained that can be very dangerous, especially in a big truck, because that can put our car, and if he puts in reverse.
Oh, I can do that. You guys want to have a drinking stream tonight? I mean, we're going to go for about 2 hours because this is a long trial, but we can do that tonight. Yeah, that's not going to happen. That'd be fun though. But I've got work to I've got work to do in the morning. But yeah, that'd be fun. That'd be an impromptu. Let's do a booze and body cam style channel. That'd be weird. We can do it. No, don't do it. Don't do it. This is me humbly asking all of you guys, do not super chat me to take a shot. I'm not getting drunk tonight.
Rams the gas and rams the car. My car's done. I'm not going to be able to do anything from there, as well as it's very dangerous. So I usually like to, kind of get away from my car. So if I need to get away, I can. So I got out and I was trying to scream, hey, put your car in park, put your car in park. driving all over the road, on the curb right now.
Is that your voice?
Yes. Just drove off the roadway. 1009 Lancaster 3. John Union Sam 6273. John Union Sam 6273. We'll be on 16 and Summer Road. He just pulled into the Marathon. Put the car in park. Put it in park. You're in reverse.
So do you approach and make contact with the driver of the vehicle?
Yes.
Who was the driver?
Mr. Vanover.
Okay. And how many occupants were in the vehicle?
There were 2 occupants, front driver and a front right passenger.
Did you advise him as to why you stopped him?
Yes.
Okay. Can you make any comments about that?
I believe he made a comment toward something of the effect of I drive a dually, kind of like it didn't fit in the lane almost, which all vehicles are designed to fit. You know, there's no vehicle that's going to be too wide because then you couldn't drive it with a regular driver's license. You would need some kind of oversized permit to drive on that road.
And at the times that he wasn't committing the traffic violations, was he in the lane?
Please say that again.
When he wasn't crossing the lines or whatever, was his truck able to fit in the lane?
Yes,
Okay. So I'm switching now. Would this be your body camera?
this will be. Put it in park. You're in reverse. You're in reverse. Your reverse lights are on. Is it in park?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Your reverse lights are on. That's why I said that.
Oh, okay.
Okay. My name's Trooper Morgan. All right. Do I have you stopped?
No.
Okay. I have you stopped because you completely drove off the roadway. You're in a dually, so you have a lot of tires, right?
Yeah.
And you were completely off the roadway. I mean, down into a ditch and into the grass.
What?
Yeah.
It's not true.
I have it on video. It is true.
I'd like to see that.
Okay, absolutely. We can talk about that, okay? You have a driver's license on you, sir?
I'm a fat.
Now, some of this commentary, is that the passenger?
Yes.
Okay. Now, did you ask Mr. Vanover to produce his license?
Yes.
Was he able to just get that to you right away?
No.
Did you have to ask him more than once?
Yes.
When you get somebody's driver's license, do you normally run it through dispatch?
Normally, yeah, I'd say normally, yeah, you would.
Through dispatch, or I guess through your mobile unit in the
Yes, yes, yes.
And were you able to determine the status of his license?
Yes, his license was expired.
Did you ask him if he knew that?
I did.
Was he aware that it was expired?
He said he was aware. He said something to the effect of, I'd gone to the B&B, but the line was too long, so he just left and didn't get it renewed. Tunzi on Lancaster. Wait for Noah.
Another squid. Thank you so much for the 10 gifted memberships. Welcome to the 10 new members. I appreciate another squid. Thank you. Also, thank you for letting me know that the gifted membership button still does work. A few people just said it doesn't, so I'm glad you proved that. Thank you.
Robert, 861684, Robert, 861684. You still live on 6848?
Stops the lane?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
I bought a new house.
Where's that at?
Preserve Drive, 179.
Okay.
Preserve Drive.
Okay. You know you're expired?
Yeah. I went to the DMV and I sat there for 2 hours, but I got tired of waiting. I left. So, yeah, I know it's expired.
Okay. Is your passenger,
Did you ask him where he was coming from?
Yes.
And do you recall where he was coming from?
A golf course in Pataskala.
Okay. Would that be Broadview?
Yes.
Thank you. So when you were talking with him here about the truck, I guess the truck looks pretty high.
I spent my day doing my taxes today. I did my taxes. I started applying for jobs. I was busy today. That's what I did today. Besides editing this video for tonight. So yeah, it's been a long day, but I'm here for this entire trial. We are at the 40-minute mark, and I think I cut this video down to about 2 hours and 10 minutes. So we're about 1/3 of the way through. I think we got this. We can do it. We can do it.
Based on your body cam. Is your body cam on you now where you normally wear it?
Yes.
Okay. So would your face and your head be above the line where the window is?
Yes.
Okay. How tall are you?
I'm 6'5".
Okay. But so you can clearly see and everything into the vehicle from your height when you're next to the truck?
Yes.
Okay. Now, when you were speaking with him about the reason for the stop and about his
Yeah, I cannot continue to make a living on YouTube. I've tried for so long, but I got to go back into the workforce. That's a completely different discussion. We'll talk about it at a different time. But right now, yeah, I need some steady income. I really do, especially to help me with my taxes. I did them today. I'm like, yeah, can't do this anymore.
driver's license, did you notice anything about him physically that caused you concern for potential OVI?
Yes, there was bloodshot, glassy eyes. There's a strong odor of an alcoholic beverage emitting from the vehicle. There was a slurred speech, which I like to preference that with slurred speech isn't always like every single word he's saying is slurred. It's just sometimes it's specific sounds, specific words. That is where we draw that conclusion of, hey, there is slurred speech there.
And so based on that, you believed his speech was slurred at this juncture?
Yes.
Okay. Did you ask him if he consumed any alcohol?
Yes.
What did he say?
He said he did not. Are you valid? Okay. Why didn't you drive? I'm just curious. Since
You can't. I didn't know it wasn't valid.
Okay. All right. Where
We were golfing. So.
golfing? Okay. Where are you golfing at?
Roger.
Where? I'm sorry. Where?
Roger.
Where is that? I'm not familiar with.
Fantastic.
Okay. So where are you coming from?
Red.
Okay. I'm asking him. I'm just.
Yeah, we're not coming from anywhere.
Okay. So here's what doesn't make sense. You're coming from Broadview.
No, I didn't say that. You're saying.
I asked where you were coming from, and you said that you were golfing at Broadview.
No, we was golfing at Broadview, and I live in Pickerington.
Okay. All right.
Taking me home.
Okay. Be honest with me, man. How many drinks have you had tonight?
None.
I'm not asking you, sir. I'm asking you.
Zero.
Okay. All right. Well, so I'm getting some indicators of alcohol. Okay. So I want you to step out of the vehicle. I just want to check your eyes, make sure you're okay to drive. You're okay to drive. It's gonna be going away. Okay.
Sir.
So why did you ask him to step out of the vehicle?
So I asked him to step out of the vehicle to separate him, one, from the passenger, but two, there was, like I said, there was a smell coming from the vehicle, an odor coming from the vehicle. So in order to determine who is that coming from, where is it coming from, I'm actually going to separate from the vehicle to go into the OVI investigation.
And at least up to this point, what factors did you consider to make an OVI investigation necessary?
Well, for the very first thing is driving behavior. Like I said, it felt close enough for me to have to swerve my vehicle to get out of the way. And then I get behind him. I'm seeing the marked lanes. I'm seeing the left of center. Pull him over. I see the bloodshot, glassy eyes. I can smell the strong odor of alcoholic beverage coming from the vehicle. They are saying that they're saying we didn't drink. We didn't have any drinks, but I can smell it. So there's something like going off. Something's not right here. So from that point, yeah, I had him go out of the vehicle so I could further that OVI stop.
Okay. So when you got him out of the vehicle, you continued to interact with him, right?
Yes.
And so when you go back to, do you go back to the front of your cruiser?
Yes.
Okay. When you took it back in front of the cruiser and you were interacting, did you smell an odor of alcoholic beverage coming from him?
Yes, I smelled it coming from him. As we were talking, as I'm asking questions and trying to get to more, know the story and stuff like that, I'm actually smelling it coming off of his breath.
So at that point, did you think that you needed to do field sobriety tests?
Yes.
Now, how many standardized field sobriety tests are there?
3.
And what are they?
You have the, as we talk, HGN, which is the eye test. You have the walk and turn, and then you have the one leg stand.
And why are they standardized?
They're standardized because if they weren't, you kind of are just, you have to make up things, I guess. It's a way of saying every trooper, every officer has to do these field sobriety tests this way because they're studied. There's scientific results that tell us, are they impaired, are they not impaired?
So this is done, they're standardized, they're done the same way by all law enforcement?
Yes.
And that's based on NHTSA?
Yes.
Okay. Were you able to conduct the field sobriety, these standardized tests with the defendant?
No.
Really?
Not all of them.
Not all of them? Okay. Which ones were you able to do?
I was able to do HGN.
Okay. Now, is there like a medical questionnaire that you have to go through with a suspect before you actually conduct the HGN test?
Yes.
Okay. And what kind of questions do you ask in the medical questionnaire?
So I ask the same questions every time. First one is, do you have any head, neck, back, knees, or ankle injuries? Do you take any medication? Do you smoke marijuana? Have you had any recent ear infections? And if they're wearing glasses, I'll say, hey, are you wearing contacts under those? If they're not, just, hey, are you wearing contacts?
And why do those questions matter?
Those questions matter just actually for administering the test. They're things to take into account. For instance, do you have any head, neck, back, knees, or ankle injuries? Yeah, I'm just now recovering from both of my hips being replaced. It's probably going to affect your ability to walk in a straight line, balance on one leg. Or the marijuana. That's just another thing for us to include because have you smoked recently? Did you just smoke? Did you smoke a week ago? You take medications. That could be because, say, yeah, I took a Percocet an hour ago. Okay, what does that bottle say on it? You shouldn't be driving, right? So that's why we ask the medication questions, and then the contacts, because if they're wearing hard contacts, which are like contacts that change your eye color, they actually, the very center of your eye is exposed, but not your entire, like the outer, the colored part of your eye, so you can't actually see the clues that you would need to see if they were wearing those hard contacts.
So every one of those could affect a result on the HGN?
Yeah. Yes.
If there was a yes to one of those? I mean, okay. Did Mr. Vanover say yes to any of those questions? Or I guess any that caused you concern?
No, nothing caused me concern.
Okay. And did you, I think you said this, did you ask him if he consumed marijuana?
Yes.
And did he say, do you recall what he said?
I believe he said a day or a couple days ago.
Okay, but not right then?
Yes.
Okay.
So you said you had nothing to drink tonight. Okay. I'm getting a odor of alcohol, an alcoholic beverage coming from your car. He said he hasn't drank. So what's up with that?
Yeah, he's drank.
He's drank?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, your eyes are bloodshot and glassy. Okay.
Yeah.
Just I need you to be honest with me, man. I'm seeing signs, indicators of alcohol. Okay. I just have a couple questions for you. Okay. Do you have any head, neck, back, knees, ankle injuries? Head, neck, back, knees, ankle injuries.
No.
Okay. All right. Do you smoke any marijuana?
Yeah, I do.
When was the last time you smoked marijuana?
Yesterday.
Yesterday. Okay. Do you smoke marijuana every single day?
No, I just do it for anxiety.
Okay. All right. Do you take any medication?
Yeah.
Hey, sir, stay in the truck. Sir? I need you to stay in the truck. You can record. I need you to stay, okay? This is for my safety here.
Yeah.
Far enough away. Hey, just
Get in the truck, dude. It ain't that big a deal. It's really not. It's not that big a deal.
Okay. So, no head, neck, back, knees, ankle injuries. Do you take medications?
I'm fine. What?
Sir, this is not your stop. If you keep interrupting, I'm going to arrest you for disorderly. You are obstructing justice right now, okay? You need to sit over there and you need to shut up. This has nothing to do with you.
A little bit.
This has nothing to do with you. You were not operating the vehicle. So just stand over there and shut up. Okay? We're talking, okay?
I got you.
Do you take any medication?
Yes.
What kind of medication do you take?
For anxiety.
No questions at all.
No, it's
Don't
not.
even answer anything else. Plead the fifth right now.
10-09 Lancaster.
Is that BSBT? I feel like that's BSBT giving him legal advice on the side of the road. That's who he sounds like right now. I love it.
I get a 20.
Plead the fifth.
It's not that serious.
Don't talk to him anymore.
Listen, just talk to me. Just ignore him.
Don't talk
Okay.
to him at all. He's not your friend.
Do you wear any contacts?
Yeah.
You have contacts in right now?
No.
Okay. All right.
Plead the fifth. Right
Have you had any recent ear infections?
Yes.
When was the last time you had an ear infection?
Quit answering anything.
Signal 7. I have the passenger
I've
outside.
always had ear infections.
Would an ear infection impact the HGN test?
No.
Would that possibly affect the other, like walk and turn or the one leg stand tests?
If he had a current one, yes.
So you said you were able to conduct the HGN. Let's talk about what you're looking for in HGN and what is nystagmus?
Nystagmus is involuntary jerking of the eye. So anytime you consume a CNS depressant, which is CNS stands for Central Nervous System, like alcohol, it depresses your system and kind of slows you down. Now, something that is very evident is that your eye will do this involuntary jerking. So we do this HGN test to see if they have that, which tells us, hey, there is a CNS depressant in their system at the time. So the very first thing I do is I ask the questions that we just talked about, and then I get them in a position. I say, hey, can you put your feet together, arms down by your side, just maintain that position, and then I explain the instructions for the actual test. I say, hey, I'm going to put a pin up in front of your face. I just want you to look at the very tip of the pin with your eyes and your eyes only, and I don't want you to move your head. Do you understand? Yes. Do you have any questions? No. And then
I'm going to interrupt you
Okay.
here just to. You said the nystagmus is the involuntary jerking of the eyes.
Yes.
Does everyone have a nystagmus?
Like
is it visible all the time?
no.
Okay. Meaning I could have nystagmus right now, but you wouldn't necessarily see it.
Right.
Okay. And so you're saying the CNS depressant makes it visible?
Yes.
Okay. And now when you say involuntary jerking of the eyes, can you compare that to anything that makes sense?
Yeah. The comparison I usually make is the windshield wiper comparison. So if you've ever used a windshield wiper on a really dry windshield and it kind of makes that skipping, skip, kind of like that. And it goes down and skips. That's what it looks like as you're doing the test. It's like a skipping of the eye.
So that's what you're looking for?
Yes.
Got it. And he agreed to take the HGN?
Yes.
Okay. Some of this conduct we saw from the passenger yelling and interjecting, did that continue while you were trying to do this? Okay. But you did give those instructions to Mr. Vanover to follow your stimulus?
Yes.
Okay. Did he seem to understand your instructions?
Yes.
Did he have any questions for you about how to do it?
No.
Okay. Did you have to repeat them or anything like that?
Yes.
Okay.
Still,
Yelling,
you don't
calling
have to talk to him, bro. At all.
Listen, just
You don't have to talk to him at all.
Realize. All I want to do is get this over
Don't
with.
say one fucking word.
I'll make my way over.
That's it.
okay.
I mean,
All right.
I just want to get this shit over with.
So okay,
It's
look,
that
this is what I'm having you do. Okay, have you put your feet together.
I ain't doing
Don't do
that.
any of
Hey,
that.
hey, don't go anywhere. You have absolutely no right to go. Okay, go back to front of my car right now.
I don't have no right to go.
Yes, you are being detained right now.
Am I?
Yes.
Well, detain me.
Okay, go ahead and stand right here. Okay. This is listen. This is gonna go.
Call Tony to everybody. Fucking,
Okay. Are you not gonna take any of these tests?
Wait, what?
Are you not going to take any of these tests? All I want to do is check your eyes. You're okay to drive. I don't see any clues in your eyes. I'm just going to be going your way.
Yeah, if you want to do that.
All right, listen, I want you to stand with your feet together.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so right here, face me. You got to face me. Just put your feet together. Put your arms down by your side and maintain that position. Do not get closer. I'm not kidding, dude. I will arrest you right now. I have other units coming right now, and if you keep stepping closer, I will arrest you.
Back up, dude. Back up.
Call your lawyer. Don't talk to him anymore.
Focus on me, okay? This is, I'm trying to help you out as much as you can, okay?
So this,
Yeah, again, this is a BSBT figure on the side of the road. I don't know. Was he in the truck with him when he got pulled over, or is he just walking up to him? I really want to know who this guy is.
this structure, is he agreeing, yes, I will do your HGN test?
Yes.
Okay. Were you ultimately able to conduct the HGN?
Yes.
Okay. How many phases are there?
3.
And how many possible clues of impairment are in the HGN test?
6.
Put your arms down by your side.
Is to fucking incriminate you,
I want you to
bro.
maintain that position until I tell you to move, okay? I want you to look at the tip of this pen with your eyes only, okay? I don't want you to move your head. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Right here. You gotta look at the tip of my pen, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Still see it okay?
Mm-hmm.
Those are meant for you to fail. Those are meant for you to fail, Bill.
Just your eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Right here.
Yeah, I see it. I've been seeing it. I ain't stupid.
Hold up in court.
Don't move your eyes. Hey, you can't. You have to keep looking. You can't turn your head.
I don't have to keep looking.
Okay.
I already
Sir,
know what I'm
are
doing.
you gonna take these tests?
Shut the fuck up.
I don't need to take them tests. I've been through these tests. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not really that big of an
So
issue.
you're not gonna take these tests?
Doing his job. I'm
Are you not
mad
gonna take
at
these
him.
tests?
Bill, I'm not mad at him. Don't talk to him.
I'm giving you like one more opportunity to take.
You said first you do the lack of smooth pursuit. How do you perform the lack of smooth pursuit portion?
So I take my pen right here and I put it approximately 12 to 15 inches from the right here bridge of their eye line. So you want the pin basically like right even with their eye line, 12 to 15 inches. And you, like I said, you start right there in the middle of their face. And then you start on, it'd be my right arm, so my right arm's going right. You start to the right, and it's approximately 2 seconds, 1,001, 1,002. Then you come back, 1,001, 1,002, and then you do the same thing to the left, 1,001, 1,002, 1,001, 1,002. That's the pre-check. That's also the same movement that you would do for lack of smooth pursuit. And you're going to do 2 passes of that. So you're going to go this way once, this way once, this way once, this way once, and then you go on to the next test, which is going to be maximum and sustained.
Okay. So how many clues are possible in the lack of smooth pursuit?
2 clues.
Okay. And how many did you observe in this case?
2 clues.
Okay. So, and then you said second you would do distinct and sustained nystagmus at maximum deviation?
Yes.
Okay, that's a mouthful. What's maximum deviation?
Maximum deviation is when the eye goes to the farthest part of your eye. So it's basically like looking one direction as far as you can possibly look.
Okay. And how do you determine what's maximum deviation?
So when you're as far as you go, on the very corner of your eye, there will be no more white of the outside of your eye.
And then can you explain how you do, or how you perform this portion of the HGN?
Yes. So again, it's the same thing. Through all these tests, 12 to 15 inches, right at the brow line. You're going to go 1,001, 1,002, and once you reach that maximum deviation, you're going to hold it for a minimum of 4, maximum of 30 seconds. And then that's just confirming it, because once you're out there, you'll actually see that eye. It won't just stay out there looking, it'll be bouncing. And then you'll go back to the center, 1,001, 1,002, 1,001, 1,002, and do the same thing for the other eye. And just like the last test, you're going to do 2 passes of that on each eye.
Okay. And what do you mean by distinct and sustained? I mean, you kind of touched on it.
So distinct and sustained means that it is, so when I go out here, okay, he's looking, okay, I can see it. So right there it's distinct, and it's sustained, meaning it's not like 1, 2, stop, and it settles there. That's not sustained. Distinct and sustained mean when it's out there and it's in that corner, it will continue to do it.
Okay. And how many seconds do you hold it out there?
Minimum of 4, maximum of 30.
Okay. And how many clues are possible?
2.
And how many did you see here?
2.
And what is the third face again?
The third face is onset prior to 45 degrees.
How do you measure the 45 degrees?
The 45 degrees is going to be the same. So if I'm 12 to 15 inches from their face, I'm going to go 12 to 15 inches away from their face. That makes a 90-degree angle, which is going to be 45 degrees.
Excuse me. So how long should it take you to go from center to 45 degrees?
Approximately 4 seconds.
Okay, and then how long do you need to hold it to verify a clue?
A second.
Okay, and how many passes do you do?
You do 2. Minimum of 2.
Minimum of 2. So can you just, I guess, walk us through again for this phase, how you conduct that?
So, again, 12 to 15 inches from their face at the brow line, and you go, so if I'm, taking it'd be his left eye, it'd be 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004. However, if you see it before 1004, you stop and verify. So let's say I see it at 1002, 1001, 1002. I see it, I stop, confirm it, okay, I see it. 1001, 1002, I see it right there, confirm it, okay, I'm gonna go back.
How many clues are possible there?
2.
And how many did you observe?
2.
So if my math is mathing, that's 6 total clues for HGN?
Yes.
Okay. And how many clues do you need to perfect an arrest?
You need 2 clues to effect an arrest. Or, I'm sorry, you need 4 clues to effect an arrest.
And it doesn't matter which phases those 4 came from?
No.
Okay.
You have to look at my pen. You can't just stop.
Okay, but
Hey, Bill, call your lawyer.
Okay. Put your feet together.
Shut up and call your lawyer.
Arms down by your side. Maintain that position so I tell you to move. You understand? Okay. Look at the tip of my pen here, okay?
For you to fail, Bill. You don't do them. Sober person can't even do that. That's about it. Try it out.
Keep looking here.
Yes, sir.
Keep looking here.
That's enough, Bill. Call your fucking lawyer, bro. Quit talking to this guy.
you need to shut the fuck up.
That'll help you. It'll help you in front of the judge. Bill, I tell you, bro. Make him walk on the curb. Bill.
Okay, I'm gonna go up now, okay?
You said I'm going to go up now. What does that mean?
So that's it's a part of HGN. That's the vertical gaze nystagmus.
And what are you looking for in vertical gaze nystagmus?
So vertical gaze nystagmus is the same idea as horizontal, except we're going up. And vertical gaze nystagmus tells you that once he reaches it's the same thing as distinction sustain when you get to the very corner. When you reach your top to where your head wants to move up, but you can't move it anymore. If you have VGN like this, which means it's bouncing up and down uncontrollably, that means that that person has a higher amount of alcohol in their or CNS depressant in their system for that person. It doesn't mean for everyone. For instance, I might have a different tolerance level as someone who doesn't drink versus John Smith, who does drink every day. He's going to have a different tolerance level, right? So if he drinks 10, he might not have VGN. Or if I drink 10, I'm going to have VGN, if that makes sense.
Did you detect VGN here?
Yes.
Can a person still be impaired without VGN?
Yes.
And do you often see people who are impaired that do not have the vertical gaze nystagmus?
Yes.
And can you explain how many passes and so forth, how you conduct the VGN portion?
So it's 2 passes.
All right, so can we make this test make sense then? Is it possible for you to be impaired and not have the nystagmus? Yes, it is. Is it possible for you to be impaired and have it? Yes, it is. If that's the case, why is this a test? Someone explain that to me, please. I mean, I get it. Most of the time, it's probably pretty easy to tell. But if it's possible to have it and not be impaired, and then not have it, and then have it and not be, I think you guys know what I'm saying. I feel like this test doesn't make sense now. He just added doubt to the entire test.
And it's, again, minimum of 4, maximum of 30.
Yes, sir.
One more.
Western Kirk Drive, Cal Road, Kingwood, Frank, 3626.
Okay, go and relax. Okay, all right. So IMC includes in your.
Okay. So how many clues are possible in the vertical gaze nystagmus?
2.
Okay. One, is that one for each eye?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah. Okay, and how many were present here?
2.
So based on your training and your experience, is HGN a good indicator of impairment?
It is the best one.
Why would you say it's the best one?
Per the San Diego study, which is actually what the NHTSA manual goes off of, it is the highest percentage on correctness, on correctly identifying an impaired person.
Okay. Is this something that people can you fake it?
No, you can't.
Does NHTSA say, which of these fields, standardized field sobriety tests, does HGN, let me start that over. Does the NHTSA manual say that one of these tests is more reliable out of the 3 standardized field sobriety tests?
Yes.
Which one is it?
HGN.
Okay. So while you were doing this test and interacting with him, and the passenger's over here yapping his mouth, was there anything else notable about him physically while you were doing the HGN and the VGN?
Yes, he had a circular sway while I was performing the HGN test.
Is that something that you see in impaired people?
Yes.
So based on the fact that you saw HGN and VGN, well, 6 out of 6 clues and then the 2 out of 2 clues, did you suspect he had more to drink than the 0 he said?
Yes.
So did you try to do the other field sobriety tests?
Yes, I offered it to him.
Okay. And why didn't you do them?
He refused.
In your experience as a trooper, is that typical for sober?
Objection to what's typical.
I'll sustain the objection. We're talking about this case.
Oh, that was a good one right there. The prosecutor tried to bring in something. Oh, so he refused this test, so we're going to use that against him right now. But she worded it a little weird. But the defense attorney was right on top of that. Good on the defense attorney. Yeah, if you refuse the test, yeah, that's all I'm going to say. Good job.
So based on your knowledge, skills, and experience, was his refusal to do these other field sobriety tests indicative of impairment?
Yes.
And were you planning on doing both the walk and turn and the one leg stand?
Yes.
Okay, so I want to take you through more fields. Okay. Do you want to take these tests or no? I'm not even going to waste your time. You don't want to take them? Or just want to let you, I'm asking you right now.
More fields.
I want to take you through more tests. Okay.
More tests for what?
So I want to take you through the walk and turn, the one leg stand.
I've been done. Did that.
So you're not going to do them?
Everything else. Still deny everything. Or your fucking lawyer. Call your wife, call your lawyer.
So I need a decision like right now.
Oh, look at the defendant right now in court. He's like, "Oh my gosh, I just want to say this thing. I don't talk to this guy anymore. Please don't use this guy again." Yeah, just like he looks so ashamed of his friends yelling stuff at him. But yeah, you can't use evidence that's not there. All right, he denied the test. He got punished for it for not submitting to it. All right, fine. But yeah, you can't use that against him now, man.
I'm going to take the section.
I'm fine.
You're not taking them?
No, I'm not taking this.
Okay. Okay, go ahead and turn around.
So can you determine if someone is impaired from alcohol with only one field sobriety test?
Yes.
Okay. What about without What if only one test and no chemical test? Can you still determine if someone is impaired?
Yes.
Okay. Have you ever had a case, or let's start with this. Did the defendant exhibit all possible clues of impairment?
No.
Have you ever had a case where someone did?
No.
Was there anything about his demeanor while you were doing these tests and while you were interacting with him that indicated impairment as well?
Yeah, he was abrasive. He wasn't making eye contact, looking away from me. He was also being deceitful during the stop.
Someone have to be.
None of those things says impairment. All right, you're being deceitful. You're lying to me. That doesn't mean you're drunk. You're being abrasive. That doesn't mean you're drunk. You could just be an asshole. I mean, come on. I don't think at this point they've proven he's drunk yet. I really don't.
Wasted or really intoxicated to be impaired?
Objection. Again, I thought we were focusing on this case only.
I'll sustain the objection. Please ask your next question.
Could the defendant be impaired without being wasted?
Yes.
Okay. And was he falling down drunk?
No.
Okay. Did you believe that but you still believed he was impaired?
Yes.
Objection. Asked and answered.
Let's move on.
So based on your training, experience, and observations, did you believe that he consumed alcoholic beverages prior to driving the truck this night?
Yes.
Okay. Do you believe that he drank it to the degree that it impacted his ability to properly operate a motor vehicle?
Yes.
So do you believe that he was impaired from that alcohol?
Yes.
So based on that, what did you do next?
I instructed him to turn around. I had him face my patrol car. I put handcuffs on his person, and then I performed a search incident to arrest.
Okay. And so when you placed him under arrest, what made you place him under arrest? What made you determine that was necessary here?
So it's a totality of the circumstances. So it starts from the driving behavior that I initially observed, and then once I got to the vehicle, the things that I observed inside of the vehicle, once I put him through HGN, and then after that, I asked him, hey, will you perform more tests for me? He said no, so I took the totality of all the circumstances that were within that specific traffic stop, and I determined that I believed he was impaired, so I placed him under arrest for OVI.
And did you read him his Miranda rights?
Yes. Okay, face my car.
Yes, sir.
Put your hands together.
Yes, sir.
Like you're clapping, There you go. You're under arrest for OVI. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can will be against you in court of law. You have the right to an attorney. You have the right to trade present with you during any questioning. You have the right to answer any questions. You have the right to not answer any questions. Do you understand these rights if I read them to you?
Why do you arrest me? Why a pin test? You arrest a guy from a pin test? I can drive
Face this way.
bro.
Right here. You can't drive anywhere. He said you've been drinking.
Who said that?
He?
So you said you were going to do a search incident to arrest?
Yes.
Okay. Is that standard to do when you arrest someone? I know that sounds like a silly question.
Yes. Anytime you arrest someone, you search their person for anything dangerous that they could have on them.
Okay. And what's the process that you go through when you're searching someone?
You mean like how I search them?
Yeah, like what preparation steps?
Okay, so yeah,
everything.
I in this instance normally I would just have them keep facing the camera and stuff like
This isn't relevant. He wasn't charged with anything that he had on him. Why? Now we're just wasting the jury's time at this point.
that. But in this instance, I want to keep eyes on this guy because he's an unknown danger. He could have
By
a gun.
this guy, you mean the passenger?
Yeah, the passenger. He could have a gun, he could have a knife, he could have whatever that could endanger me. So I want to make sure I'm at least facing him while I'm performing this search. So I'm putting on nitrile gloves, which is just, it's in our policy, we have to put on nitrile gloves. And then I start with a search. So I start, with a normal pat down that you would do, and that's just for general feel. So for instance, if I feel a gun or something on his hip, I'm instantly going to go and grab it. And then after that, I go through the pockets and whatnot, or any hidden compartments or whatnot.
Okay. And if you, anything that you find in somebody's pockets, do you just place that with their property for them to get later?
Yeah, it's going to be placed on the hood and then placed in an evidence baggie so I can just release it to them once I release them.
Okay. And that would be phone, wallet, keys, cigarettes, lighters,
Yes.
that kind of stuff. Okay. So while you're going through this process, getting ready to search him, starting to search him, did he say anything else about his drinking?
Yes, he changed his answer from, well, he had said something along the lines of, I only had a couple of beers, and then later would say, I believe he said, I'm not even trashed, or something to that effect.
Okay. And originally he said how much to drink?
Said he had nothing.
Good.
I didn't hear him. You just make that
My
up?
camera did.
No, so did mine.
Oh, your camera heard it? Your camera heard him say that? Okay. So what are we talking about? Your camera heard it, but you didn't? That doesn't make sense.
I really haven't drank that much, so.
Okay, well, so you just told me earlier that you haven't drank at all, and now you told me that you haven't drank that much. So which one is it?
I haven't drank that much.
Okay.
I went golfing, that was it.
I don't know, like to read lots.
This guy. Tell him it's incriminate you.
I had a couple of beers.
Check, okay.
Negative.
Okay, so what did you have to drink?
You're a lawyer,
Huh?
bro.
What did you have to drink if it wasn't that much?
A couple of beers at the golf course.
What kind of beers?
Budweiser.
Budweisers?
Yeah,
Okay.
that was
Two.
it.
How many?
2.
And they're just like cans?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I'm not trash. I wouldn't be driving across
The
that.
judge will dismiss this, you're fine.
I know. I ain't worried about it.
But you have to shut up.
Then after, so at this point you go through this process, you start searching?
Yes.
Okay. Do you also have to search their shoes?
Yes.
How do you do that with them out here?
So the easiest way to do it is to have them go to the cage of the vehicle, like the rear side of the vehicle, and have them actually sit down with their feet outside of the car.
So after you search him, put him in the back to search his shoes, you do all that here?
Yes.
Okay. And then, so once he's in the back of the cruiser, searched, after that, is that when you take care of this other person and the vehicle and whatnot?
Yes.
Thank you. At some point, were you planning on asking the defendant to submit to a breath test?
Yes.
Okay. Before doing that, did you advise him on the consequences of taking one or not taking one?
Yes.
Can you just, what is a BMV 2255 form?
BMV 2255 form, in the simplest way I can put it, it's a form that we have to read to an impaired driver that tells them the consequences of submitting a chemical test or not.
And then, is there a front side that you fill out with the defendant's information?
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, may I approach?
You may.
Showing you what's marked as Plaintiff's Exhibit 2 for purposes of identification. Do you recognize this?
I do.
Okay, and what is that you're looking at right now?
This would be the 2255 that I filled out for this specific track.
Yeah, that doesn't work with the judges, though. I mean, especially because they're elected officials, right? So it is kind of presumed that everyone knows the judge because you see them on, signs everywhere during election season. So if you know the judge, that doesn't get you out of jury duty. No. It's if you have a personal relationship with the case, if you know the defendant, if you know the arresting officer, those could potentially get you out of jury duty, but not just because you know the judge.
Traffic stop.
And does that contain the defendant's name, address, and other information about the stop?
Yes.
Okay. And then the second page, is that the warnings, or the part you would have to read to him?
Yes, this is the back side of the paper in which we read to the defendant.
So normally it's a front and back?
Yes.
Okay. So what did you advise him would be the consequences of refusing a breath test?
I'll also say this about Judge Middleton. He is a district court judge. So in Michigan, he doesn't handle felonies. He might do an arraignment felony or an arraignment for a felony, but he doesn't do anything further than arraignments or pretrials. So he probably sees very few actual trials. Yeah, I mean, we see Judge Simpson every day. How many times do we see him during an actual trial? We'll see him during, you know, prelim examinations and a bunch of pre-trials, but you rarely see Judge Simpson for an actual trial. And there's a reason for that. They're district court, they're not circuit court. So usually misdemeanors, you don't take the trial. Sometimes you do. I mean, DUIs are usually misdemeanors until you hit a certain point. But yeah.
So I had advised him that because he had no priors within the past 10 years, that it was either if you take the breathalyzer test and you blow at a .08 or over the legal limit, it is a 90-day license suspension. And if you refuse the breath test, then it is a 1-year license suspension. And that is immediately based on what your decision is. I get in the left turn lane.
And who are these gentlemen?
These are Pataskala police officers.
Okay, and why are they there?
I called for backup because of the passenger, and so they had come up on scene at that time.
Don't say nothing. I was like, oh, here we go.
All right, put this on your lap, okay? I got it.
You got it?
Yep. All right, I'm going to start right here, so I have to read you this form, okay? You are now under arrest for operating a vehicle under the influence of an alcohol, a drug, or a combination of them. Operating a vehicle while under the influence of a illicit controlled substance or a illicit metabolite of a controlled substance. Operating a vehicle after underage alcohol consumption or having physical control of a vehicle while under the influence. If you refuse to take any chemical test required by law, your higher driving privileges will be suspended immediately, and you will have to pay a fee to have the privileges reinstated. If you have a prior conviction of OVI operating a vehicle while under the influence of a illicit controlled substance or illicit metabolite of a controlled substance under the state or municipal law within the preceding 20 years, you are now under arrest for state OVI. And if you refuse to take a chemical test, you will have increased penalties if you are subsequently convicted of state OVI. If you take any chemical test required by law and found to be at or over the prohibited amount of alcohol, a controlled substance, or metabolite of a controlled substance in your whole blood serum, or plasma, breath, or urine as set by law, your higher driving privileges will be suspended immediately, and you have to pay a fee to have the privileges reinstated. If you take a chemical test, you may have the independent chemical test taken at your own expense. Do you have a CDL, sir? Okay. All right, now I'm going to go right down here, okay, and I'm going to read this to you here, okay? Independent of any penalties or sanctions imposed upon you pursuant to any other section of the revised code or municipal ordinance, your driver's license or commercial driver's license permit or operating non-resident operating privilege is now suspended. The suspension takes effect immediately. The suspension will last at least to your initial appearance on the charge, which will be held within 5 days after the date of this arrest or the issuance of a citation to you. You may appeal the suspension at the initial appearance before the court that hears the charges against you that resulted from the arrest or during a period of time ending 30 days after the initial appearance, okay? Now, since you don't have a prior, okay, there's two options for you. You can refuse the test, so I'm going to take you to my post. I'm going to offer you a DMT. Most people call it the breathalyzer, okay? You can refuse that test, or you can take it, okay? If you refuse it with no priors, it's a 1-year license suspension starting tonight, okay? If you take the test and you are found to be at or over the prohibited amount of alcohol, it is a 90-day license suspension, okay? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
That seemed like a trick right there. He said if you refuse at the very beginning, if you refuse any of these, chemical things, we're going to suspend your license for a year. And then he just said if you refuse it, we're going to suspend it for a year. But if you're above the legal limit, we're going to suspend it for 90 days. What? Oh man, I feel like that's a trap. It's like, if I'm over, I only get suspended for 90 days instead of a year. He said so much right there. I don't like that at all.
Thank you, sir.
You just need this here because.
And did somebody witness you reading this?
Yes,
And-
that officer on scene right there.
And did he sign the form saying that he witnessed you reading it?
Yes.
Okay. The Exhibit 2 that you have there, other than obviously it's 2 pages instead of just a front back, is that a true and accurate copy of the form that you completed and then that you read to the defendant on July 19th of 2025?
Yes.
So what test were you going to request that the defendant take?
I was going to request him to take a DMT breath test.
Breath test? Is DMT like the brand or whatnot?
That's just the actual machine. Yeah.
Machine. Okay. And where did you take him to offer him this test?
To the Granville Ohio State Highway Patrol Post, which was just right up the road.
Is that the Alville Road address you mentioned earlier?
Yes,
Did you advise him again of the penalties for refusing or testing?
I did.
Can you make any comments about how he thought he would perform or about taking it?
Yeah, I believe he said, I think I can pass this test. And then right afterwards, he refused.
Okay, so you seem to be understanding the 2255. We can do this right here. That way, you don't have to get you out if you don't want to do it. Do you want to take it or no? Do you want to take the test or no?
So what's the difference?
So here's the difference, okay? If you refuse, it is a 1-year license suspension. I charge you with OVI, then you go home. I get you all your paperwork, you go home, okay? If you take the test, and you are at a .08 or higher, I am going to charge you with an OVI in the same process. Let you go home. But the caveat is, if you refuse, it is a 1-year license suspension starting tonight. If you take it and you are at or above the legal limit, it is a 90-day suspension. So it's 1 year versus 3 months. You feel like you could, so is that saying you want to take it?
I mean, I was golfing. I really didn't drink that much, but I don't trust that machine at all. My lawyer would tell you that.
Okay.
So I'll just go ahead and do the automatic one.
So you're going to refuse?
Okay. Yeah, because I don't trust the machine.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Hey,
It's your choice. You don't have to apologize to me.
You guys.
10's are not extra. Trying to check refusal.
Yeah, no, I get that. Here's my problem with this. If you refuse, you get a 1-year license suspension. If you test, you get a 90-day license suspension if you're over .08. But also, if you're found guilty in court, you also get a 1-year license suspension. So why would you test? So I've seen enough of these DUI arraignments where the thing the judge says is this is your very first DUI. If you're found guilty, these are the maximum amount of punishments we can give you, up to a 1-year license suspension. So I mean, I guess it's up to. Yeah, I just don't understand why you would test. I feel like the whole system's it's set up to get you to say yes, I'm drunk, and skip court, so they can just skip everything. I feel like the punishment's the exact same, whether or not you're accused of it or if you're not.
0001.
0001.
So what did you mark as a result of this interaction on that 2255 form?
That he refused.
Okay. When you ran the defendant's information, because you were advising him with his priors and whatnot, if he had them, if he didn't, that would change his suspension. Did it show a prior conviction within the past 20 years?
Yes,
Was there a prior conviction?
2013.
Okay. Did you issue a citation in this matter for the defendant?
I did.
Okay, and what did you cite him for?
It would have been the OVI refusal, Mark Lane's expired license.
Okay, thank you. And then the portions of the videos that we watched today, are those fair and accurate depictions of your observations and interactions with the defendant from the traffic stop on July 19th of 2025?
Yes.
Nothing further on direct at this time.
Counsel approach. All right, we're back on the record in the Vanover case.
Oh, don't do that. Don't do that. Nope. Don't do that. I'm just asking questions because I don't understand how this all works. You know, I've been watching court now for, I don't know, 5 years. I've had a channel for 3. So I'm starting to see things that I didn't used to see. So, sorry, excuse me. I went through a period where I was just, 100% on the side of judges. Like, oh, I just love all the judges. And then there was a period where I was like, oh, the prosecutors, yeah. And now I feel like I've transitioned to where I feel more sympathy for the defense attorneys. It's weird how I've transitioned in the amount of time I've watched court. So that's all. That's all I'm saying. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm not a lawyer. These are just opinions that I see, and that's it.
It's 25 TRC 6886. The defendant's present with counsel. The prosecutor's here. The jury is not. Coming back from our lunch recess, and the state has concluded its direct examination of the trooper. Trooper, you can go ahead and retake your seat on the stand, please. Ms. Yeager, is the state ready to resume?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Ms. Holm?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, very well. Let's bring in the jury.
All right, all rise for the jury.
All right, please be seated. Record should reflect that all 9 jury members have come back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Before we get back underway, I should point out I'm not oblivious to the fact that it's getting warmer in the courtroom, and unfortunately we don't have any control over the climate here. But if it gets uncomfortable to the extent that people need to take a break, feel free to raise your hand, okay? All right. Ms. Tome, you may begin your cross-examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Trooper.
Good afternoon.
My name's Lisa Tome. I think you probably figured out I represent Mr. Vanover. I just have a few questions for you. So you indicated that you had the training at the academy, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you were taught about detecting possible impaired drivers, correct?
Yes.
And things to look for?
Yes.
And there's different phases in your detection of what might be impaired driving?
Yes.
Okay. First phase is the vehicle in motion, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And that's where you're just looking for a traffic violation, right?
Yes.
Okay. And if you, well, I guess generally on patrol at any time, if you see a traffic violation, that's justification to pull somebody over, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And in fact, it's a legal standard of reasonable suspicion that a traffic violation occurred.
Yes.
It's not probable cause, it's not proof beyond a reasonable doubt, correct?
Bill, thank you so much for the super chat. I do appreciate it. To help publish your book, How to Have a Successful YouTube Channel. I do appreciate it. It made me feel good. You made me smile. Thanks, Bill.
I mean, if there's a, like, you run a red light, would that not be probable cause there?
Okay. Well, it's not proof beyond a reasonable doubt, right?
It's an observation. I get,
Okay.
yes.
There's different standards, is that fair?
Yes, there's
Okay,
different standards.
Okay. And in this case, you observed a marked lanes violation, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you indicated this was a large truck, correct?
Yes.
What are they, dually, is that what you call it?
Yes.
Okay. And is that because it has multiple sets of tires?
It has a tandem tires in the rear, which just means it's 2 tires on each side.
Okay. So it's wider than a regular pickup truck?
Yes.
Okay. But you indicated it would have to stay within the actual lane, or it wouldn't be safe for the road, correct? Okay. So it might be, in fact, as wide as the lane itself.
No,
Okay, so less wide than the lane.
yes,
Okay, but closer than the average pickup truck.
yes.
Okay, so in committing a marked lanes violation, I guess you wouldn't have to move the steering wheel as far to go outside of that marked lane. Is that fair?
No, because on a dually, actually, this has to go with like a semi as well. Both tires have to cross that line for it to be a marked lanes violation, which would be in line with the first tire, which would be the same as if there was a regular truck.
Okay, so your position is you didn't pull him over because the outside tire crossed the line, it's because the inside tire crossed the line?
Correct.
Okay. And I'm sure in your duties as a patrol officer, you see marked lanes violations frequently.
Yes.
Okay. Now, you indicated that you didn't pull him over right away, correct?
Correct.
Because because he was a bigger vehicle, you were waiting for a good spot to pull him over.
Correct.
Okay. Because he's a bigger vehicle, it wouldn't necessarily be safe for him to be pulled off just to the side of the road,
Because he could still be in the roadway.
because he would still stick out. Okay. So you allowed him to continue to drive until you found a spot that you felt was safe, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, this is why I would suck as an attorney. I would get in trouble so many times. So one of the reasons why this officer charged him with driving under the influence was his delayed response. He said that in his testimony. Oh, he was delayed to respond. You're being asked yes or no questions right now, and it's taking you 3 or 4 seconds to respond. Are you under the influence, officer? Are you? Why is there a delay in your response to these yes or no questions? I would get in so much trouble as a court officer. I really would.
I believe also you indicated that a marked lanes violation can be considered an indicator of impairment, correct?
It could be a sign that it's like just the first sign that you could see in the entirety of that stop.
Okay. And that could also be an indication of multiple other things, of course.
Yes.
Distraction.
Yes.
Obviously, we know there were 2 people in this vehicle. So you don't know what was going on in that vehicle, I guess is what I'm saying. There could have been distractions. Correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you indicated that when he went by you, you felt like he got a little too close to you?
Yes.
Okay, but he didn't certainly hit your vehicle in any way?
He did not strike
Okay.
the vehicle. No.
And you were at that point, were you in a left turn lane?
Yes.
Okay, and he was in the lane right next to you?
Yes.
Okay. So, when he pulls over, he uses his turn signal, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and these are additional things you're taught to look for, right?
Yeah.
A driver's behavior when you're attempting to pull them over?
It could be a part of it.
And of course, pulling into the gas station was a safe place for him to pull over, right?
Yes.
Okay, and he did use his turn signal when he did that?
I believe so.
Okay. Now, you had some concerns that his vehicle was in reverse?
Yes.
You didn't see it go back at all, though, did you?
I don't recall paying too much attention. I recall hearing him saying it's in park.
Okay.
And then that's when you see me, I take like a wider approach versus just a direct right to the door.
Okay. So you believed he was in reverse because of those lights?
Yes.
Okay. But you don't necessarily know what those lights mean on any particular truck, do you?
If the lights are light, those are reverse lights.
Okay.
White is reverse. That is standard across all vehicles.
Okay. Did you inspect his particular vehicle to see if those lights stayed on when it was in park?
I did not.
Okay. All right, so the next phase of the traffic stop is to have contact with the driver, right?
Yes.
Okay. And you're looking for divided attention, because in order to operate a vehicle, you have to be able to have divided attention.
That's one of a clue of impairment, yes.
Okay, so that's something you're looking for when you're engaging in conversation with him?
Yes.
Okay. And you were able to engage in that conversation, right?
I'm not sure what you mean.
You asked him questions and he answered?
Yes.
Okay. Because you said
No.
that,
Not all of them, because this passenger was answering for him. That's why I had
Right.
to interject and say, I'm not talking to you, I'm trying to talk to the driver.
And that was a problem, right?
What do you mean by problem?
That person kept talking.
I mean, it makes your job a little harder, but it's something that you deal with. It's just,
Right.
people do it.
It's certainly not a perfect scenario to have that
Not a
person sitting there.
Yes,
And then also to have that person get out of the car and continually shout.
yes,
Okay, it's not an ideal situation.
yes.
Okay. So, well, you indicated, so I talked about answering questions, and he was able to, I understand the passenger answered some, but he spoke to you as well, Mr. Vanover.
He spoke to me, yes.
Okay. And you indicated that there was some slurred speech, and you said that maybe it's not completely slurred, but specific sounds or words. Do you recall which sounds or words were slurred?
I could not recall the specific sounds or words right now.
Okay. But there was no confusion as to, you understood what he was saying. Is that
Yes.
fair? Okay. And he produced the driver's license when asked,
He
okay?
did give me his ID, yes.
Okay. And that's something that you're looking for, is he able to give me the right document, right? Or not document, but the right piece of identification.
That could be, yes.
Because
That is something that I am looking for,
Okay.
on how they react
Okay.
to when I ask.
Because sometimes people might give you a credit card by accident or some other card that's in their wallet. I'm sure that happens, right?
Yes.
Okay, and it did, but in this case, you asked for ID, he gave you ID, right? Okay. And ultimately, there was a concern with the odor, so you asked him to step out of the vehicle, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And another thing at that point you're going to be looking for is, is he okay getting out of the vehicle? Does he able to appropriately open the door? Can he step out okay? You're watching for all those things, right?
Yes,
Okay. And in this case, he was, correct?
yes.
I'm going to play a portion of State's Exhibit 1, Plaintiff's State's Exhibit 1 at 5:18.
Please proceed.
You might have to hit the circle.
I think she's doing a good job. I'm going to say this. I don't think the state proved he was drunk. I don't think anything in that testimony, in that hour-long testimony, proved that he was drunk. So I don't know. This should be a really quick cross-examination, in my opinion. I think the state failed miserably on that.
You can just go ahead and take us.
The car's certainly in park now, right? It's
Yeah,
not
yes,
big.
it's in park.
Okay.
Space bar will pause and unpause if you're not skipping.
Take right where it says state trooper on the front of my car. Yes, sir. Just right here. And then I want you.
Okay, so that shows him exiting the vehicle appropriately, correct?
Yeah, he got out of the vehicle.
Okay, and walking the direction you told him to,
Yes,
and standing in the position you told him to.
yes,
Okay. And again, those are things that you're on alert for, right?
yeah, they could possibly be clues, if there
Okay.
was something there.
Okay, if there was something there, that would be a clue.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so you decide to put him through a series of field sobriety tests.
I put
Well-
him only through HGM, but yes.
Your intention was to put him through field sobriety tests if he would perform them, right?
Yes.
Okay, so the first one you do is the horizontal gaze nystagmus.
Yes,
Okay, and that's typically what you would always do first, right?
yes. Through NHTSA, yes.
And of course, you're activating your body cam this whole time.
Yes,
So we can see him perform that test.
yes,
Okay. Now, you indicate that you see an involuntary jerking of the eyes. Is it fair that it's not visible on your body cam?
very rarely. The only time I've ever really seen it on body cam is when the person is like head level with right where the body camera is, because they appear closer.
Okay,
But typically now you can't.
okay. But what we can observe is him standing there and following your directions, right?
Yes.
Okay. And you indicated that he was swaying in a circular motion
Yes.
during the administration of this test? Okay. I'm going to direct you back to State's Exhibit 1.
Okay. Are you not going to take any of these tests? Do you want to take this test?
Okay, so at 11:35, you're performing the horizontal gaze and nystagmus test, correct?
It appears so, yes.
And so your position is that he's swaying in a circular motion while you're doing this?
Yes.
Okay. Is this another thing that's simply not captured on your body cam, or do you think that's what we're seeing?
Body cam's a little harder to see. It's easier to see once you do VGN on body cam.
Okay.
But for typically, if you want to see it really well, the dash cam shows it a little better.
Do you know if it's captured on your dash cam?
The traffic stop
No, the horizontal gaze nystagmus.
should be. It's on the entire time.
Yes, for purposes, Judge, this is State's Exhibit 1 at 10:25.
Thank you.
Was it raining?
I don't think it was raining. It might have been like a mist or almost, but
Okay.
it wasn't actually like raining.
Okay.
That would be very evident on the body cam
Okay.
because it'll drip down over the camera.
Your windshield wipers are on?
Right.
Okay. Do you know why your windshield wipers
Like I said,
are
it
on?
could
It's
have
not
been like a
raining?
mist. It could have been like a very
Okay. So he's certainly not swaying back and forth, correct?
I actually disagree. I think I can't see him swaying as I'm watching his red logo. It's a sticker on the back of his truck, and I'm watching it be exposed right now. And then it closes off a little bit. Now it's more exposed.
Okay.
And now he's closed it off a little bit.
Okay. So that's what you characterize as the swaying that you discussed.
Yeah, just not being able to stand there, stand still. Completely
Okay.
Still. For me, when I'm there in person, I can see it a lot easier than because I can actually see his muscles engaging in his leg. Because when someone's swaying, their muscles engage
You saw it at the time, or you can see it now?
at the time.
Okay. So you were seeing the muscles in his legs engage while you were watching his eyes to see if there was nystagmus?
It's a peripheral vision thing, yeah.
Okay.
Just like if you move your hand while I'm looking at you in the face, you can still see it.
Okay. Sorry if I'm going to go a little bit out of order here. You indicated when you pulled him over that he had gone like onto the curb and almost into a ditch?
When I was talking to him at the car, yes, I said.
Okay. And he didn't almost go into a ditch though, did he?
At the time, from what I had actually observed inside the vehicle, again, there's a lot of things that's going on. I have to hit T-stop. I got to look for my button and things like that. What I had observed is that he had gone off the roadway into the grass a bit, and I had seen a ditch there. So that is what I was trying to I was trying to translate that to him, yes.
Okay, so, do you believe that differently now, today, having watched it?
I mean, when you look at the video, like, it depends on your definition of ditch. Did he go down into a ditch? No.
Okay. He went outside the marked lanes, like we talked about earlier.
He was off the roadway.
Okay. Now, with regard to the horizontal gaze nystagmus, you indicated that you got all 6 clues, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And there's, of course, other reasons why nystagmus can occur in people, correct?
Very few reasons.
Okay, like sometimes caffeine can cause it.
You almost could not humanly have enough caffeine in your body to cause it.
Okay. But there are other things that would cause somebody to have display nystagmus.
There are other
Okay,
things, yes.
all right. Now, after the horizontal gaze nystagmus, there's a lot, again, there continues to be this chatter from this passenger, right?
Yes.
And then he says he's not taking any more tests, right?
Yes.
And you indicated that his refusal of further tests was indicative of impairment.
Yes.
Okay. So, if he had taken the tests, if he had agreed to do additional tests, that you would think that he wasn't impaired?
So those are psychoactive tests. So just because you see a certain amount of clues in the eyes, and then you see, like, so if we've gone through the walk and turn, and we've gone through the one-leg stand, and he had shown me the same amount of clues, or not the same amount of clues, he had shown me clues, I would have arrested him.
Okay.
We can sit here and, like, if he had done this, if he had done that, but, like, at the end of the day, he gave me what he gave, and, like, that's kind of what I had to run off of.
Right. So, his refusal of tests is actually indicative of nothing then?
If you weren't impaired, why not take the test?
Okay. Okay, well, he did take the horizontal gaze nystagmus, and based on that test only, you arrested him, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, is this a situation where he had to prove to you that he was not impaired?
Anytime you stop someone and we go on field sobriety tests, in a sense, you're doing tests to show that you are not impaired. That's what they're for.
Okay. And what is it for your purposes?
I see clues in what he does, and then I make a decision based on how he does on those.
So actually, a refusal of test is evidence, it's indicative of nothing.
Objection, Your Honor, asked and answered, literally with the exact same phrasing.
I'll go ahead and sustain the objection.
All right. Now, you indicated on direct that you thought his demeanor was abrasive.
Yeah.
Okay. You said numerous times during this traffic stop that he had been compliant, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can still be compliant but be abrasive. I mean, it's
Okay. Well,
those aren't like together.
Okay. So, and you don't know him in your personal life, right?
No.
Okay. So when you, but for refusing to take all of your requested tests, he complied with your orders.
I mean, he was in handcuffs, so like, not really much he could.
Okay. Well, you said he was compliant,
Yeah.
correct?
Like when I said, "Hey, turn around, put your hands behind your back," he could have been like, "No." That would be non-compliant. You
Okay.
can still begrudgingly say yeah, which
Okay. You told the additional officers that came that he had been compliant with you.
yeah,
And that the real problem was you called them because of the passenger.
yeah, he was an extreme danger to me. Yes.
Yes. And when his wife came to the scene, you told her that he had been compliant
Yep.
and that he was not a problem, he was not going to jail that night, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Now, we talked about, I guess, the different standards of arresting and proof beyond reasonable doubt, reasonable suspicion. In order to place him under arrest, you had to have probable cause, right?
Yes.
And that is your understanding is a lesser standard than proof beyond a reasonable doubt?
Yes.
Okay. Can I have a moment, Your Honor?
You may.
Okay, no further questions, thank you.
All right, redirect Ms. Yeager.
Thank you. Trooper Morgan, there was some questions on direct and on cross about passenger, generally just making things difficult. But did anything the passenger do affect your performance of the HGN test?
There is absolutely nothing that anyone could do to affect the HGN test.
Okay, so it didn't affect the results of the HGN or the vertical, the VGN?
No.
Okay. I'm going to try to word this that's not confusing, but let me know if I do. Ms. Tome was asking on cross about a couple of things that we observed that could be clues that the defendant did not exhibit, like walking to your cruiser.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Did you consider those things as well in making your decision to arrest?
Yes.
And the refusal to complete the field sobriety tests, you indicated that was a clue. Is that your opinion or is that from NHTSA? Or part of your training, I guess?
That would be part of training.
Okay. And same thing, refusal of a breath test, is that part of your training saying that could be a clue?
That's part of my training, yes.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Recross any?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Trooper, you may step down. Thank you very much. Any additional witnesses on behalf of the state?
No, Your Honor.
And did you wish to address your exhibits?
Yes, Your Honor. The state would seek to admit plaintiff's exhibits 1 and 2.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
Very well. 1 and 2 come in without objection. Does the state rest?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Tome, do you wish to call any witnesses?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of the evidentiary portion of our trial. The only thing... We're back on the record in the Vanover case. It's 25 TRC 06886. The defendant's here in the courtroom with his counsel. The prosecutor's here as well. The jury is not in the courtroom at the moment. We are coming back from our final recess before closings and final instructions. Ms. Yeager, anything we need to address before we get underway?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Tome, did you want to make any motions or anything?
Yeah, Your Honor, at this time, I would move for Rule 29, that the state has failed to put on sufficient evidence to let the case go to the jury.
All right. Any response, Ms. Yeager?
Your Honor, we would ask that you deny the motion. It's a sufficiency of the evidence argument, and we believe that the state has submitted evidence as to each element of the offenses charged, and therefore should proceed to the jury's deliberations.
I do believe the state has overcome that obstacle, so I'm going to overrule the motion for a directed verdict of acquittal. Anything else, Ms. Tome?
No, Your Honor.
Let's bring him in.
All rise for the jury.
All right, please be seated, and the record will reflect that the jury is now back in the courtroom.
Spade, good to see you. 25 months. That is awesome. That is awesome. Thank you so much for your 25 months. Thank you. You guys having fun? We're almost done. Almost done. We still have like 20 minutes left of this. But yeah. Yay. Fun jury trial. Let's go.
All 9 members. Ms. Yeager, if you're ready, you may proceed with your summation.
Good afternoon. We're in the home stretch, everyone. I want to take this last opportunity to thank all of you. Your service here is so important, and you have all been fantastic with your patience and paying attention, and especially since it's getting warmer in here, which usually means nap time. So again, thank you all. If you remember, I pointed out the last time I was standing here, all the elements that I needed to prove for you to return guilty findings on 2 charges. And that was for the OVI impaired and then the OVI refusal. And if you recall, I said, hey, I don't think the defense is really contesting a lot of these things. A lot of this is not in dispute. I believe I delivered on that. Trooper Morgan did testify that he was on patrol in the city of Pataskil in Licking County, Ohio, on July 19th, on Saturday, July 19th, 2025, that he had a traffic stop with someone operating a motor vehicle on the roadway, and that person was Mr. Vanover. Skip ahead just a smidge. He did testify that Mr. Vanover, and the defense has conceded that yes, he has this prior conviction for an OVI in 2013. And you also heard evidence that he refused to take a breath test when asked. Now that part that I skipped over, that's the part that I said at the beginning was what was going to be in dispute, and that is whether or not Mr. Vanover was under the influence. He was. Now you saw the video. You're going to have that during your deliberations. Now while you're deliberating, I want you to keep in mind what we've talked about since the very beginning of the day when we did jury selection. Alcohol impacts people differently, and people will exhibit impairment differently. Trooper Morgan told you that, yeah, one possible clue could be poor driving. Well, let's look at the driving we had here. He said, hey, Trooper Morgan was in a left-hand turn lane. This white pickup truck is in the lane next to him, comes up, goes straight. And as he was approaching where Trooper Morgan was, Trooper Morgan had to jerk a little bit to the left because of how close this white truck was to him. And then he proceeded to follow the truck, like, hey, what's going on with this? And that while doing that, he saw that this truck could not maintain its lane position. The driver was weaving in the lane. Then went across the white fog line. Went left of center on that yellow line. There's a part in the video where he is basically straddling the white line, and there's a curb. If you watch, you see. He doesn't like slam over it or anything, but it's the curb. Caught Trooper's attention like, okay, something's happening here. Let's check this out. Initiates a traffic stop. Truck pulls into this gas station. Cool. Goes up. Once he gets the truck to be actually in park, approaches, starts talking to the occupant, realizes there's a passenger who, as we saw, did try to cause a lot of problems. But don't get lost in the sauce with that. As Trooper Morgan told that passenger, he was not part of this traffic stop. He needed to sit over there and shut up and mind his business. The fact that he couldn't has nothing to do with Mr. Vanover. It has nothing to do with the clues of impairment Trooper Morgan told you about. Now initially, Mr. Vanover tells Trooper Morgan that he had 0 alcohol. How much have you had to drink tonight? How many drinks have you had? 0. Trooper Morgan gets him out of the truck. They walk back in front of the cruiser. Mentions, like, hey, so you said you haven't been drinking. You said your passenger hasn't been drinking. Mr. Vanover again says, oh, he's been drinking, talking about the passenger, but that himself had not had alcohol. Reconfirms, nope, nothing. Then later on, he is a little more forthcoming and says, oh, actually, no, I had some. I had a couple of beers. A couple of Budweisers on the golf course. So he first denied drinking anything at all. 0. And then admits later, oh wait, now it was a couple of beers. I'm not trashed. I wouldn't drive if I was trashed. Well, I appreciate that sentiment, but you don't have to be trashed to be impaired. I believe the word I used was wasted when I asked Trooper Morgan about that. Did he have to be, do you think he was wasted? Did you have to be wasted? No. So, let's talk about what Trooper Morgan told you about the clues. Tests or otherwise. So when he initially sees this truck, approaches, speaks with Mr. Vanover, gets him out of the truck, and starts doing the things. He saw indicators that Mr. Vanover had consumed alcohol. There's the red, bloodshot, glassy eyes. there was an odor, not just any odor, a strong odor of alcoholic beverage emanating from the vehicle. And if you recall, I was asking Trooper Morgan about how tall he was. A, because I'm jealous since I'm really short, but also from his view of the body cam, you see like the side panel of the door on this truck. But Trooper Morgan his head was above that window level and he could easily see in and everything. So that odor was hitting him right in the face. Strong odor from the driver's side of the truck. So he had asked a couple of times for the defendant to give him his driver's license. The defendant had some slurred speech, especially because he was asking him about his license. And the defendant said, yeah, I know it's expired. I went to the BMV, waited a couple hours, and said, didn't want to wait anymore, and just left. Okay. But again, as we said earlier, you can have a beer and go drive your car. That's not what the law says. The law says you just can't, you can do that as long as you're not impaired from it. So let's talk about the indicators that he was impaired. Now the definition of impaired, or I guess it's going to be under the influence, we're going to use them interchangeably here, but the definition of under the influence is going to be given to you by the judge. The entirety of it is this long. The couple of points of it I do want to highlight is, remember, it's not how much is going to affect an ordinary person or you yourself. The question is, what effect did alcohol consumed by Mr. Vanover have on him at this time? It goes on to say, if the consumption of alcohol so affected the nervous system, brain, or muscles of the defendant so as to impair to a noticeable degree his ability to operate the vehicle, then he was under the influence. So the clues, the indicators that he was under the influence. Well, the traffic violation and just the driving in general. There's one. The defendant's demeanor. Well, yeah, he wasn't volatile, wasn't violent to anyone, but he was still kind of argumentative. And he also had kind of, like you saw his attitude, he kind of didn't care. He said things like, oh, I just want to get this over with, I know what I'm doing. He had to be asked multiple times for his license. In fact, they couldn't just focus and get his own license out. His slurred speech. The times that the trooper had to repeat himself when he would ask him any questions or when he was conducting the HGN test. He had to try multiple times, do multiple attempts to do the HGN. Now, one of the things that I did want to point out about this HGN test is, as to you and me, this is just a pen going back and forth and someone's following it. But Trooper Morgan has had specialized training on doing this a very certain way. And even though you don't necessarily have that, think about everything he told you and everything you could see with your own eyes during that test. The defendant was swaying like this a little, swaying a little bit. He kept moving his head to where Trooper Morgan had to stop and instruct him again, you can't move your head, you need to watch with your eyes. Then all the statements that the defendant made during these tests, like, I haven't had that much. I only had a couple beers. So now not only is he changing story, he's trying to rationalize and justify himself. Now, the HGN test, don't you remember how Trooper Morgan told you, is this involuntary jerking of the eyes. You can't fake it. People can't control it. So this goes back to the effect of alcohol on the central nervous system. Like when you're in your car driving, right? And you need to look left or right to your mirror. Do you turn your whole head? Do you just turn your eyes? Either way, that's something you're doing to divide your attention. When you look up in your rearview mirror to see something behind you, when you look down towards your speedometer, alcohol depresses your nervous system, which will slow your reaction time. And that will impair the ability to drive safely.
All right, quick question. She made the point to say, oh, yeah, the defendant was swaying back and forth slightly while he was answering questions and conducting the eye test. What has she been doing the entire time she's been doing her closing argument? She's swaying back and forth. Again, this is why I can't be a court. I can't do this. I would call this out. Like, oh, yeah, you're swaying back and forth. That means you're drunk, right? If you're going to say my client is drunk because, excuse me, because he's swaying back and forth, what are you doing?
When Trooper Morgan did the horizontal gaze nystagmus test, I know there's a lot of terminology and a lot of information in that segment when he was testifying. Remember, he said there are 6 total clues that you can possibly get, and he got all 6. He needs 4 to effect an arrest. So he got more than what he needed, and he got the maximum possible. And then he also found vertical nystagmus, which thankfully that's only like 2 things and not 6 for us to try to follow that one too. But he said it's dependent upon the person. Vertical nystagmus would appear for some, if that particular person had a large quantity of alcohol for that person based on their tolerance. And that if somebody has VGN present, that means they consumed a large amount of alcohol for themselves. And that VGN was present here. He offered the defendant to take these other field sobriety tests, the walk and turn, the one-leg stand. The defendant refused. A refusal to do that can be an indicator of impairment. So at this point, every test possible that he was able to conduct, that the defendant was okay with participating in and didn't refuse. Every single one, he got every single clue. 6 out of 6, 2 out of 2, and then refused the others. And then he was offered the opportunity.
I'm a very fidgety person. I don't know if Ed's still here. Ed sat in the courtroom with me. I am very fidgety. I can't stop moving. So I'm not saying that her doing that means she's drunk. I'm just saying don't use that as an argument if that's what you're doing currently. I just think it's weird, right? Right? Am I wrong? But yeah, I'm not accusing her of being impaired. Just it's a weird argument while you're doing exactly what you're saying proves that the guy was drinking.
To take a breath test. Hey man, you want to take this breath test? If you don't, that's a refusal. Your license is suspended immediately, right now, today, for 1 year. If you take it and you test over, or at or over 0.08, it's 90 days. Now that's at or over. It's not like 0.08 to this is one thing and then another. 0.08 and above, 90 days. 90 days versus 1 year. And he even says, I think I'd pass that. First he had no alcohol. Well, if you have no alcohol, of course you're going to pass that. You're going to get all zeros. Right? He kept saying he was fine. Why didn't he take the test? Worst case scenario with taking that test on his license was a 90-day suspension that day. So when he was given that opportunity to prove himself, to show he was not impaired, he refused. So folks, when you're deliberating, I want you to remember everything that we've talked about today. Watch those pieces of the video that you feel that you need. And after your careful deliberation and going over all the evidence that I have presented to you today, I submit to you that you will return findings of guilty on the OVI impaired and the OVI refusal charges. Thank you.
Ms. Tome?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Good afternoon again. I too will continue to thank you for providing the service and being our jurors today. And again, I understand it's getting warm. So I told you at opening there were things we agreed on. Ms. Yeager said there are things we agree on. Absolutely. He was operating a vehicle, and he has a prior conviction in 2013, and he did refuse a test. All comes down to, I agree with Ms. Yeager, whether or not he is under the influence. Now, and he's not under the influence in July because he has a prior in 2013, 13 years ago. That consideration is only relevant to if he's under the influence and he refused. So he's got this prior. It's not, and the judge will instruct you, it's not to be considered as evidence of guilt here. It's evidence only for that sort of additional charge. You're never going to get there because he's not under the influence in July of 2025. Keep in mind everything he did right. And we acknowledge too that, yeah, he went outside the lines. It's a traffic violation, again, that I probably committed some sort of marked lane violation on my way to court. Maybe you did. Committing a marked lane violation does not mean you're impaired. It's justification for the trooper to pull him over. Sure, absolutely. And then he's going to do further investigation. And what does that further investigation reveal? Keep in mind, again, everything he did right. He pulls over appropriately. He's got this big old truck. And interestingly, his driving wasn't so bad that the trooper pulled him over right away. He lets him continue to drive to find a safe place. I think that's an interesting fact. Uses turn signal, pulls into a safe place, sits there. There's some dispute whether or not the car was in reverse. The car never actually backed up. The car was ultimately put in park, and he has a conversation with the trooper. They didn't show you on the trooper's direct examination him getting out of the vehicle because it doesn't help their case. That's why I brought it up. Maybe we should look at these things as a whole. This is a guy that the trooper said, yeah, we have to, we watch everything. We're supposed to be watching everything, making note of everything. Well, they didn't show you that. And he gets out and he looks like a champ. He doesn't fumble, he doesn't stumble, he doesn't, he's able to open the door and get out. We may think, oh, well, okay, great, he's able to get out. No, these are important things. This is how you determine whether or not he's under the influence. The key thing, under the influence, and it's important. And it's not, slurring your words doesn't mean you're under the influence. And in fact, I challenge whether or not there was any slurring of the words. And you can go back and watch that video yourself. But the law specific, and this is why I talked a lot on voir dire about, it's not drinking and driving, it's being under the influence. And what does that mean? Lawfully, following the judge's instructions, it means that whatever alcohol was consumed adversely affected, noticeably impaired defendant's actions, reactions, or mental processes that deprived him of the clearness of intellect and control of himself that he would otherwise have possessed. It's simply not there. This is not a man who has lost his clearness of intellect or control of himself. In fact, he's very in control of himself. He committed marked lanes violations and his eyes fluttered. That is not proof beyond a reasonable doubt that somebody is under the influence because you are saying you see his eyes fluttering. What else do we see? What are all the positives that we see? He answers the questions. I don't think he slurs his words. I don't think he sways. I don't think he's under the influence. The state certainly hasn't proven beyond a reasonable doubt that this man is under the influence. And if Trooper testified about, it's a totality of the circumstances. Yeah, it is. And so look at everything. It's not this. He's like, I got clues here and here and here. Therefore, he's under the influence. He's guilty of OVI. It's not. And interestingly, the vertical gaze nystagmus, Trooper says that means that person had a large quantity for their tolerance or their body type or whatever. That man that we watched on video, he's had a large quantity of alcohol. That's what we're seeing. If that's what we're saying, that he had a large quantity, do you think that that's what we would be seeing? A man who's answering questions appropriately, who's standing still, who's able to manipulate, walk, do everything fine? That doesn't make any sense to me at all. And yet that's what they're saying. We got all these clues. Therefore, he had a large quantity for that person, and he's absolutely impaired. His demeanor, how does his demeanor indicate that how does his demeanor relate to depriving him of the clearness of intellect, which he would have otherwise possessed? I mean, take this with a grain of salt. Maybe he's a jerk. I don't think he's a jerk, but I mean, come on, that's not our standard. Our standard is this man under the influence? His demeanor, I mean, he answered the questions. He got out of the car. Trooper says multiple times he's compliant. And he tries to like backpedal a little bit, like, well, yeah, I mean, when I told him I was going to cuff him, he turned around and let him, that's being compliant. Well, he's also very cooperative. And prosecutor talked about this passenger tries to cause a lot of problems, but that didn't affect what, the trooper was able to do. Well, it also didn't affect what Mr. Vanover was able to do. He admittedly has to be distracted. This man is barking in his ear constantly, don't do them, they're set up for you to fail, call your lawyer. But what does he do? He waves the guy off. He's like, just go away. I'm dealing with the trooper. I'm doing what I should be doing. I'm following his directions. I'm having a conversation with him. You just go away. He did. I think that's just a really interesting fact, that we've got somebody barking in your ear, and yet you're standing there. Now they're going to say, oh, but he didn't though, did he? Because he refused those other tests. But, I mean, you can watch it again. You can see how his demeanor, his refusal of doing those additional tests, and is that because he's impaired? I mean, the man's kind of done. Red, bloodshot, glassy eyes, odor of alcohol, none of that relate to whether you're under the influence. Simply doesn't. So having red, bloodshot, glassy eyes or an odor of alcohol doesn't mean that your actions, reactions, or mental processes are affected, so that you lost control of, you don't have the clearness of intellect or control of yourself. The instruction goes on, if the consumption of alcohol so affected the nervous system, brain, or muscles as to impair, to a noticeable degree, his ability to operate a vehicle, the defendant is under the influence. That's not what we're seeing. When we're seeing this man get out of his car and engage in discussion with the trooper and go and stand there pretty darn still with his hands at his side, following the directions, we are not seeing his brain, muscles, or nervous system impaired to a noticeable degree. It's simply not there. I would ask you to watch the video as much as you want. Take a look at it again. It's not what Trooper Morgan says. It's what you say. You are the ultimate decision makers in this case. He testified that he believed he had an impaired driver. Okay, that's your decision. His decision is whether or not he had probable cause to arrest him. It's your decision whether the state has met the burden of proof beyond a reasonable doubt. Remember, proof of such character that you're willing to rely and act upon it in the most important of your own affairs. What's important to you? If you're making a most important decision in your life, and this is what you're watching, and you're like, boy, I don't know. Do I want to rely on that or not? In this case, you don't. Said, if you're not sure, if you're scratching your head at the end, if it's a close call, it's not guilty. This is a case that is not guilty. I don't even know if it's a close call. Maybe you think it is. The state certainly thinks that they've met their burden. At best, maybe it's a close call. That is not enough. That is not proof of such character that you're going to rely and act upon it in the most important of your own affairs. Again, don't get hung up on the fact that 13 years ago he was charged. That's only relevant if he's under the influence. It's simply not there. This is not evidence that you're going to act upon in the most important of your affairs. Watch the video again, make your decision. Thank you so much for your time and patience. I ask you to return a verdict of not guilty. Thank you.
All right. Ms. Yeager, your rebuttal argument?
I mean, I'm just going to say it. I don't think either one of the attorneys did a really good job. Prosecutor didn't really do a good job. Defense attorney didn't do a great job, but I don't think the prosecutor proved that the guy was drinking. I don't think that's there. Yeah, that's all I got right now. I don't know. Let's see. Does the prosecutor have something to say? Apparently, she does.
Last time you have to hear me talk, I swear. I am going to be a little all over the place, so hopefully you can follow me along anyway. Well, there's quite a few things Ms. Tome pointed out that I think we need to talk about another minute or two. First is that I have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt all those things, including that Mr. Vanover was under the influence. Yeah, that's my standard, and I've met it. It's not beyond all doubt. Everything in life is open to some possible doubt. I don't have to go beyond that. I have to go beyond reasonable. When I asked Trooper Morgan about everything that he had done here, why did you arrest the defendant? Did you consider this, this, this? I specifically asked him, you considered the clues, like the 6 out of 6, the 2 out of 2, his refusal to do things. But I said, hey, did you consider, I guess we'll call it the not clues, like he got out of his truck and didn't fall on his face. He walked from the truck back to the cruiser and didn't fall on his face from staggering around or anything. And he said, yeah, because that's the totality of the circumstances. It's not just, I check off some clues and poof, I'm done. There may be a minimum number of things he's looking for, but he is looking at every single thing from that interaction. Every single thing. To decide, is this man under the influence? Now, remember, I do not have to prove somebody is falling down drunk. Ms. Tome seems to want me to prove that, basically show that Mr. Vanover is falling down drunk. That is not the law. Remember, alcohol affects people differently, and differently on different days. Somebody can have a lot of it and be able to walk just fine. Some people can have a lot of it and they can talk all right. Ms. Tome did say, you know what, maybe he's a jerk for all we know. Well, think about that. Maybe he is. Maybe his normal personality is much like his passenger was displaying. And then because he had alcohol, it's not. His demeanor and his interactions are relevant because in the definition of under the influence, Ms. Tome pointed out about whether it adversely affected and noticeably impaired the defendant's actions, reaction, or mental processes. Well, your demeanor is going to be indicative of that. So, alcohol could have affected his mental processes, and I assert that it did, and that's why he was acting the way he was. That's why he was being evasive. Yeah, he wasn't violent, he wasn't throwing punches, but he was, no, I know what I'm doing, I've been through this, I don't need to do that. Nah, man, no, I have a 0. Well, I'm not that drunk, I'm not trashed, I wouldn't drive if I was trashed. Well, which is it? Have you had no alcohol, or have you had some? And then another part of that definition that both myself and Ms. Tome have talked about is if the consumption of alcohol so affected nervous system, brain, muscles of the defendant to impair to a noticeable degree. Well, think about everything that Trooper Morgan said. He noticed. He noticed the swaying. You remember, he specifically pointed out he could see that in his peripheral vision, Mr. Vanover's leg muscles tensing up, catching him because he was swaying. Well, that seems to be an effect on the muscles, and it was obviously noticeable since Trooper Morgan noticed it.
We are at 2 hours and 18 minutes. This video is, hold on, 2 hours and 21 minutes. So we have 3 minutes left. Now, there a lot happens yeah. I'll explain in a second. There's a lot of drama that goes down that I just edited out, but I'm gonna explain here shortly. But 3 minutes left to answer your question.
Mr. Mossos pointed out about him being cooperative. Again, he wasn't yelling, screaming, throwing punches. Cooperative would have been taking those other tests. Cooperative would have been, yep, let's do that walk and turn. How does this happen? Let's do this again. Cooperative would have been, yep, let's take that breath test. Show me how this works. He was anything but. He had no alcohol, and then he had 2 beers, and then when offered the test that could clear him, that would show he was not impaired, he was not at the legal limit for impairment, he said no. Now, while he may have had a lot of alcohol for himself and was not falling down drunk, and
I object. You can't say in one sentence that you can't use him not taking the test against him, and then in the very next sentence say, all these tests could have cleared him, but he refused them. Come on. Defense attorney, wake up.
thankfully did not hurt himself. Remember, that's not the law. A little impaired is too impaired to drive. I ask that you return verdicts of guilty today. Thank you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you've heard the evidence and the argument.
All right. Now, hold on. Let's see what the poll's at real quick. Hold on. I want to see what this is. 39% say go. Hold on. Why can't I get the poll? There we go. End poll. Wait, where'd it go? 39% say guilty. 22% say not guilty. Another 39% say I'm only here for Phil. Phil, I mean, I don't know what to say there, bud. I don't know what to say. You're as important as a guilty plea on this one. Anyways, hold on. I can't stop coughing all of a sudden. I don't want to cough in your ears. Give me 5 seconds. All right, sorry. So the jury kept coming back with questions after questions after questions. They finished deliberations, or they finished their arguments. So closing arguments finished, I'm going to say at about 1 p.m. The verdict came back at about 5:30. So they spent about 4.5 to 5 hours in the jury room trying to decide what they're going to do. But they kept coming back with questions. I edited all that out and went right to the verdict. But I will tell you that there were multiple times when Judge Stansbury had to say, if you can't come to a verdict, let us know. You don't have to sit there forever. What did he call it? He called it the Dynamite Act. I don't know what that is, but he kept referring to the Dynamite Act. I don't know. I think that's what he said. Don't know what that is. Didn't look it up. I meant to, but I didn't. But he kept doing, kept bringing them back, and they kept, we haven't made a decision yet. So this, after 5 to 6 hours of deliberation, is the verdict.
Okay, we're back on the record in Vanover case. 25 TRC 06886. Defendant's present, counsel for defendant is present, counsel for the state is present, the jury is not there in the jury room. The court received the following communication from the jury just now, quote, "We will not be able to reach an agreement," unquote. So it would be the court's intention to have the jury come in, confirm that by asking yes or no again, and if the answer is no, formally declaring a mistrial. Any objections, Ms. Yeager?
No.
Ms. Tome?
No.
Bring him in.
For the jury.
All right, please be seated. The record should reflect that the jury is now back here in the courtroom. The court did receive your most recent note, and so I'll ask one more time of the foreperson with an answer of either the word yes or no. Is there a possibility that after an additional period of time today or tomorrow, you may reach an agreement? Mr. Foreperson? Very well. This time, the court will declare a mistrial as to counts 1 and 2. The court will enter guilty findings as to counts 3 and 4, and the court will impose fines of $25 on each. All right? Very well. At this time, the court is going to have the jury escorted into the jury room. I will be in shortly to give you your money and get you guys out of here. This court stands in recess.
All right.
That's it. Oh man, you can you imagine going through that trial, kind of being completely confused? Like, what did they just prove? They didn't prove anything. How are we supposed to find this guy guilty? I feel like we want to find the guy guilty, but he didn't. They didn't do anything. Like, what do we do? And apparently, that's what they sounded like in the jury room. Mistrial. They threw the case out. That now the state has to re-prosecute it. They're not going to. I don't feel like that was even close to a case that they should have brought. Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was fun though, because I this is the first trial that I've actually watched from start to finish. It actually got a mistrial, so I thought it was interesting. Hopefully, you guys found it interesting too. I do appreciate you all watching. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for hanging in with me. I know this was almost a 3 hour. Oh my gosh, it's been almost 3 hours. Wow. All right, I need to go to bed. I didn't realize what time it was. Okay, I'm going to bed. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for hanging out with me this evening. Hit that like button on your way out if you haven't done it already. Thank you for the super chats, the gifted memberships, membership milestones. You guys are awesome. Mods, as always, thank you so much for your hard work. We had a few new faces in here tonight. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for hanging out. I'm not gonna rate anybody. I'm just going to bed. I don't think there's many people that stream on Sunday nights anyways. I know Lone Wolf doesn't, so yeah. That's it. That's all I got. Have a great rest of your night, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Okay, bye.